My father used to say, "Watch this man."
He's been cited by IGN, The Quartering, Timcast, The Daily Wire, Bounding into Comics, and even Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. It's only too bad Valiant beat him to Gutfeld.
Disney insider WDW Pro recently speculated on.
Time and time again, he's broken big entertainment news live on the air.
I've been following WDW Pro and his track record for years. If you want to find out what's on the horizon for theme parks, Pro is where you go.
There he goes again. Honey Badger gonna do what Honey Badger gonna do. Scooping and scooping and scooping.
Morty, let's check in on Rian Johnson's new trilogy.
Okay. I bypassed the compressor.
What did you do, Ray?
Donovan, that's gonna leave a mark.
Now, he was okay, after 6-7 weeks. Okay? They get over it. Kids are resilient like that.
Yeah.
I hate it.
It's the standard, what would George do?
I don't want you here.
So sorry, George. I didn't think it would go like this.
Brother, you fools.
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
Weird. Stay away from liquor, kids.
I have always liked Cowabunga.
Cowabunga!
Now that's more like it, Mr. Wayne.
It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward.
The Force will be with you. Always.
That's how winning is done.
I am vengeance. I am the night.
That's what she said.
I am Batman.
If I won tonight, I would come home and we'd celebrate. Well, I'm coming home, we're celebrating. God bless you all.
Watch your habits, for they become your character. And watch your character, for it becomes your destiny. What we think, we become.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in just 2 minutes, the lighting at the Magic Kingdom will dim for the performance of the Pro Show. We hope you enjoy and have a magical, truthful time. For the safety of others, please, no flash photography. And welcome to Provision 3D.
All right, everyone, put on your coffee glasses. Oh
boy. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
You know that you've been taught the golden rule, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you.
Yes, Paul.
Autobots, roll out.
I'm bringing the party to you.
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money?
Fortune and glory, kid. Fortune and glory.
We're gonna do it!
Leroy Dragon! All right, it's time to go to school, son. Come on, get your hands up, man.
Are you okay?
They'll never take
of freedom!
From the redwoods of California to the hills of Tennessee to the Rockies in the Sunshine State and Maine with that bright and shining sea. From coast to coast in North America, it's time for your host with the most, bringing you all the entertainment news that should be fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the show that explains entertainment and gives journalists the next day's headlines. It's the Pro Show Live!
Hello, folks. Good evening, and we are happy to be back with you after having suffered through the Acolyte. Now, one of us here on the panel has seen it, one has not. More are joining very soon, folks. We raced as quickly as we possibly could to make the deadline to be ready to go live with all of you. And as we speak, over 800 of you joining us already. It is going to be a big show tonight as we have a gathering, folks, to have a memorial for the Star Wars that we once loved. But I have good news after tonight. I really do. I mean this sincerely. We're going to talk about that. Lauren Connor is joining us, of course. And Lauren, you are not watching The Acolyte. You've decided that you're not going to support the personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein. But I have sat through this, Lauren. I have seen episode 3. I have seen it, listened to it, heard it with my own eyes. And folks, I'm here to tell you the holiday special has been dethroned by 10 times over. This is making it be over, I think, for Star Wars, for Kathleen Kennedy. The fan base will not stand for this. Joining us right now with his color commentary as well, folks, please welcome to the stage Mr. Jonas J. Campbell. Sir, how are you?
What did you do?
Well, I just invited 900 of our closest friends into this gathering to think about Star Wars. And folks, we're going to review episode 3 in just a few. But Jonas, you just came out of watching it. Did you complete the entire episode?
Yes, I did. I watched the entire thing right up to directed by Kogonada.
That's right. And Jonas, here's a couple of interesting things. First of all, my son was taken away from this episode, given some of the material that's in it. That was interesting to me, that we're in a season of Star Wars where you're like, nope, you're not going to watch this. And then also interesting to me was that my wife glanced over for like 15 seconds. And folks, we're going to struggle in how to describe some of this stuff for you. And thank you, by the way, over 1,000 now in the audience, and we are just getting started. But we're going to struggle tonight with adjectives that YouTube is going to allow. But when my wife walked by, Jonas, and saw the witches, and full spoilers tonight, folks, nothing is going to stand unspoiled. But when my wife walked by and saw the witches doing rhythmic, romantic motions with heavy breathing in a giant crowd of religious movement, my wife looked and said, I am so sorry you have to watch this trash. And she walked out of the room.
It's so strange. It really is strange. So we're on planet Brenduck, which to me just sounds like Brenda with a K on the end of it.
Brenda.
So
okay, Brenda. Yeah, we're on planet Brenda. And I have by the way, we have great new names for all these characters.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Catch me up to speed, please.
My favorite is Anarex Baca, who is Chewbacca but very skinny. Anarex Baca was in this one.
Yeah, it's just like Alan Ing said. It's basically a dude with a Wookiee mask on. It's
yes,
yeah. We do meet young Torben, who I'm really struggling to think why anyone would feel guilty enough to self-delete based off of Torben's part in this, because there's pretty much nothing that happens there that is anything to do with Torben.
Torben feels guilty for the rat tail that he's sporting. It's awful. It's like, he's trying to steal it from your main man, Mr. Kenobi. Folks, we also want to welcome on another panelist who has just finished the torture device that is episode 3. And again, folks, we're going to review this in just a few, but please welcome to the stage Marvin, the movie monster, is here. Marvin, how are you?
Oh, may the thread be with you, gentlemen.
Oh, my.
Oh, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the thread.
And guys, here's a takeaway. Here's a hot take as we get started on this. And by the way, 94% of our audience says they did not support this. They are not going to contribute to Disney Plus trying to get on the Nielsen charts with hate watching. But I think after this, you have to conclude the Jedi are indeed the bad guys. They're evil. I think there's no way about it. You might could come away saying the witches are bad too. I don't think so. But you definitely cannot
they're
walk away from this
definitely
thing.
the oppressed here. Definitely.
Yes, the Jedi are evil.
100%. The Jedi, to me, when the Jedi were like coming in, my first thought was, oh my God, they made them. This is like the end of Anne Frank. They're like the SS soldiers from Nazi Germany.
Except for Saul, who is
let's be careful with this. Let's be careful. Despite being accurate, we have to remember which platform we're on, especially given the short time we've been in live. But please welcome folks also joining us now from the Trent Report, the editor-in-chief of the fastest-growing pop culture news website telling the truth on the web. He is the man. He is the legend. He is John Trent. John, welcome aboard, sir.
Good evening. How are you guys doing?
Well, we're just pulling on
better.
Just pulling on threads.
Yes.
So let's
get this out of the way. This is some janky TV show level lighting that they've got on this $200 million monstrosity here. There are episodes of Legend of the Seeker that were shot better than parts of this show. It's wildly inconsistent in the cinematography.
Well, they definitely spent all their money on de-aging certain scenes in this, which is also, by the way, very weird when other scenes they didn't pay for the de-aging. So you get wrinkly neck actors, and then they go to smooth neck, smooth skin actors. It's so jarring to see that happening. But I want to go through a few confirmations before we get into the actual review. Let's go over some confirmations so we can get this out of the way. Okay. First of all, the twins are indeed born from lesbian witches, and apparently they scissored them into existence. They call the woman of color Mommy, but I'm going to call her Girl Maul. Is that okay? Is Girl Maul okay?
Well, yeah, she is a Dathomirian, so there's already a callback to the Witches of Dathomir.
No, she's a Zabrak.
She looked like an Iridonian Zabrak.
Yeah.
Whatever we want to call her.
Care of that,
Maul.
guys. I was.
You're welcome, Lon. I got you, buddy.
This is like when my wife asked if Ahsoka was a Twi'lek, and I said no, honey, she's a Togruta, and she said, I don't think I want to go on a date with you for at least 2 weeks.
All right, so Girl Maul is the one who apparently carried, as in when she was the one who was pregnant with the good twin and bad twin. But again, they call the woman of color, okay? And I don't know, we'll call her Mommy Witch. They call Mommy Witch Mom for some reason that makes no sense. And Mommy Witch is in charge, of course.
Mother NSA.
Okay, Mother NSA. I like that. So we've got that. That's confirmed, folks. The other thing here, this is, all right, is everybody ready to get mad out there in the audience? Closing in on 1,600 of you. Here's where we can all get mad together. But again, there's a positive side to this. I promise there is. This is so bad that there's no way this continues. This has to be stopped. We have reached the bottom. Okay, so here's what's out there that's going to end the Kathleen Kennedy version of Star Wars. In this show, those who call it the Force and those who wield it as the Force are wrong. And they are oppressors, and they are using it in a way that it is not intended. This thing that exists that binds all living organisms together is actually a thread, and it is manipulated and maneuvered in a completely different way. And if you are using it as the Force, you're like tugging on the quilt, the fabric of it, but you are supposed to use it as a thread. It is what binds everyone together. And actually the thread works in a new way. And by the way, Lauren, I'll get your take on this. The thread, not the Force, may the thread be with you. The thread, if you have one thread user, then you have a certain degree of power. If you have 2 thread users, you double your power, or perhaps even more. And if you have many thread users altogether, that power is greatly increased. And apparently, if you writhe passionately, although not going across the line into full ORGY mode, then you get super, like, put stuff in your face powers. I don't know. But anyway.
Except they all die at the end. So
yes. So Lauren, here's and with no explanation. So Lauren, here's my question for you. This is the first time I've ever heard of
You're starting
the thread.
Robot Pro, by the way.
Sorry. Lauren, this is the first time I've ever heard of the thread. This is the first time I've ever heard of many users making the thread more powerful. But I wonder if this is feeding into what we heard before, that in the Mandalorian movie, they're going to have Grogu and Luke combine powers, and somehow they can use the Force more powerfully together. Lauren, start us off. Have you ever heard of the thread before? Is this a brand new territory? What the heck did we just watch, even though you didn't watch it?
Well, no, as far as I know, this has never been referenced this way before. The witches have been, and the fact that they use magic, what they call Night Sister magic, which is their manifestation of the Force, that's not new. But this new backstory about them viewing it as a weave outside of what we saw in Ahsoka is new. So,
but the thing is, Lon, that they're not the Night Sisters of Dathomir. They're not. They don't call themselves Night Sisters. They don't use the same Night Sister magic. It's something completely new. They're not using like the green smoke, the green fog cloud, or whatever you want to say. They're called, and they just call themselves witches.
Well,
like
I don't doubt that, but I suspect that what they're going to say is that each of these covens is slightly different because they're in different places, because the Night Sisters were essentially rooted on Dathomir. If you go back to the original courtship of Princess Leia, in fact, they were marooned there and couldn't get off. But this new conception of these witches, what I believe they're going to do is go back to the beginning and claim that they were the first users of the Force, the ones that were truly practicing it in the correct way, and that they were oppressed and exiled and in other ways
appropriated.
Well, so much for that. They're dead now, so that'll be quite the
matriarchy the matriarchy was killed. John, how did the matriarchy die in this? Because I still don't understand how the matriarchy died.
They don't explain it.
Okay, so the entire matriarchy was off screen. Is that fair?
Yes, they're just dead.
It's so weird.
Like within 30 seconds of actual real time in the show.
There's an explosion in the same room that doesn't kill someone that's there, but then the explosion also kills like a pile of people.
They were all together apparently writhing some more.
Except for Mother NSA, and she's off on her own. And they confirm this, by the way. But then and the daughter sees it. But then they go to another scene. No, she looks.
We don't see her body.
She literally says, "No, it's mom" or whatever.
No, they show her.
Yeah,
they do. They show.
By the way,
they pass a bunch of them dead, and then they go into the courtyard, and she's there, and she says, "Mom," and then
she says, "Mama," but we only see like her from the back. We only see like there's something on the ground. They don't actually show you her dead.
And then when she wakes up in the next scene, she's like, "What happened?" So it's literally you have seen this happen on screen, and then they do another scene. It's super clumsy writing, in my opinion, where he has to explain what happened all over again. I get it that there can be someone who doesn't understand what happens, and in trauma they forget. But this is supposed to be a television show. You shouldn't have two scenes back to back where the same thing has to be explained twice.
So Jonas explained what he says happened off screen to the matriarchy, the oppressed matriarchy that the Jedi did wrongly.
What the Jedi did wrong? I don't think that did he say that the Jedi? I missed this.
Jedi clearly butchered them. We get that from the last episode where the guy like commits
right self deletion. Yeah,
but that's not what's the Jedi here. Here's the funny thing, though. The Jedi didn't do anything. It's the other sister that decided that she's going to blow the whole place up. She literally just says, like, just out of the blue, I am going to hurt you to the. I don't know how far
kill you.
She just says, I will kill you.
Right. So that's what Soul is telling Osha. He's lying to her because they actually killed all of these witches. That's what happened.
All right, folks. Let's bring on though someone who can perhaps help us parse out what the heck
Yeah,
we just watched.
I totally missed that, and I thought I was paying attention pretty good. They're saying that the Jedi killed all of the witches.
No, it's heavily.
They said it earlier.
I think you can connect the threads. But there was an
explosion.
The Jedi clearly did it because the guy kills him. He self-deletes in the.
All right, we're gonna discuss this in just a moment because I think it is heavily implied that the Jedi are the ones who blew up the stuff on top, which wiped out the matriarchy in one giant writhing ORGY, except for Mommy Witch, who was off to the side. But as we figure all this out, Lauren, your face is exactly how I had during the show.
Stupid episode again.
Folks, let's bring back in Michelle from Force of Light. Michelle, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. Good to be here.
Michelle, give us your initial thoughts having just watched whatever this was.
I have a lot of questions. I have more questions than answers, I feel like.
Well, when a space witch loves a space witch.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, there's a lot that could be said here. If I'm allowed to fully go into that, I really wonder.
We're spoiling everything. There's no stopping this. And as you do, let's bring on X-Wing, although you've got the floor right now, Michelle. But X-Wing, welcome aboard. Michelle, continue on, please.
For starters, I'm with Jonas of like, I don't see how there's any way the Jedi killed these witches. Secondly, I will say the one thing this episode did, it made me appreciate little Osha more, because as a little girl, she was like, I want out of this. Like,
I want out of the writhing ORGY witch cult. Yes. But here's a question. Now, this is one thing that I don't, this isn't explained at all. Well, there's two parts to this. And X-Wing, let's get your take on it. X-Wing, you've seen the episode, right? X-Wing, you're muted.
Mike's.
My bad. Yeah, sorry. It was ending my stream. I have to go in like 2 minutes. I had to pop on just because I want to see everybody's facial expression after watching that. I just had to see
facial expressions engaged. X-Wing,
I'm sorry. What was the question?
X-Wing, real quick, since you've got to go in 2 minutes, does this change the very nature of the Jedi and the Force?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, well, one of the first things they say, Jedi don't take children. Like, what? Wait a minute. That doesn't sound right. And then secondly, we have completely and entirely changed that one of the most powerful Sith, the only Sith we knew at the time that was able to manipulate midichlorians to create life, was just a hack. They've been doing it and perfected it for a whole bunch. Dude, the witches had that down. Are you kidding me? Like years before he was doing it.
I think she is Darth Plagueis.
Oh my gosh!
Oh wow!
You talk about a hot take right now.
Oh,
he cracked the code.
Please.
There you go.
I'm telling you, it's I am when that helmet comes off, it's I am your mother.
Well, actually, I agree with Marvin. This is something that I think we've been kind of speculating on a bit together in the back channels a bit, and there's a reason why they had a Darth Plagueis toy that was going to be coming out, and they canceled it. And the rumor was it was because they had made it the moon, and they decided that they didn't want to do that. And so, given the ideology of the folks involved with this, that wouldn't surprise me a bit.
All right, wait a minute. I'm just going to quote the exact line from the show. We were forced into hiding because some would consider our power dark, unnatural.
Right,
so,
but it's clearly made out to be that they're the
attention. Yes, but dark and unnatural. That's obviously, if you want to tie it back to Revenge of the Sith, there you go.
Some would consider.
All right. So since 86% of the audience has not seen this, X-Wing, who are we saying that they're trying to make be Darth Plagueis now?
I don't think they're going to try to make anybody Darth Plagueis. I think they're going to do exactly what they did, where Filoni, in all of his wisdom, is taking expanded universe stories and molding them to make them his own. I think they're going to do the exact same thing with this.
Okay, so then X-Wing, let me get your take on it in this regard.
Okay.
Dave Filoni, we have talked about this before. We took a huge amount of heat. I don't think we're going to take heat on this anymore. We might, don't care. But we talked about the fact that Dave Filoni's wife, who has been a writer for Star Wars, has been in a witch's coven before. Like she's full-blown into this stuff. It seems like Star Wars has moved full-blown into the occult, into witchy kind of stuff. And the witches here are far more fleshed out than the Jedi. X-Wing, is this the way for Star Wars to go for a direction, or is this the end of Star Wars by focusing on a coven of lesbian witches scissoring twins into existence?
So you can go all the way back to 2018 and find out exactly where this was going. If you listen to Dave Filoni talk at the, it was some kind of a women's presentation. I don't remember what it was. It was 2018. And he said the first rule of storytelling is to listen to other people and take it in and mold your story as such, which is not true. The first rule of storytelling is know your audience, which they have failed at completely. And so what I think is going on is less actually Leslie Headland. I don't blame Leslie Headland for what she did. She came into Lucasfilm and they said, tell a Leslie Headland story. And she goes, okay. she's doing what she was told.
Let me ask the panel then. Everybody on here. And Michelle, let's start with you. Is there any part of this later X-Wing?
Have a wonderful night.
Is there any part of this show that says to you that this was not written by the former personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein, or does this add up perfectly to someone such as Leslie Headland being the writer? Is there any glimmer of goodness in the show?
No, 100% she wrote it, because like I even wrote down, like, the witches are all allegory. Like, this is all allegory for how Leslie Headland feels the patriarchy oppresses women. It's even going back to kind of the Salem witch trials, I think, is what she's kind of was in her mind, like that type thing of they're keeping women down, and I mean, obviously, weird things did happen back at that time, but it's all allegory for Leslie Headland and her worldview. That was just abundantly clear watching this.
All right, so let's go through a recap of the episode then, because the vast majority of our audience, they're choosing not to hate watch this. We're having to watch it and then explain it to them. And I just want to say, does anyone disagree that the holiday special is better than this?
It's more entertaining.
I don't know that I could even go that far.
Yeah, give me Lumpy over this any day.
All right, so here's how the episode goes, folks, and we are full-blown spoilers. So Good Twin and Bad Twin are having a grand old time playing in the hills of Idaho, when all of a sudden a Jedi shows up, an evil man shows up, and he brings a sausage party of force wielders with him. But luckily, the Good Twin and Bad Twin, they're being protected by Lesbian Witch Mountain, where a pale female...
Bad Twin wants to kill the butterfly.
Oh, yeah. Bad Twin wants to kill a butterfly, which is what we in the business folks call foreshadowing. Very subtle, very subtle. And so, but they're being protected in Lesbian Witch Mountain, and there's a
Hoover Dam,
Lesbian Witch Mountain, and the pale-skinned female Darth Maul is apparently the one who carried them in her womb, but somehow the Mama Witch, the head Mama Witch, who is of color, she is the one who impregnated her somehow, and it's all through magic. We're not sure exactly how, and everything is going pretty well. They have an ascension ceremony where they writhe like they are having a sexual experience all together. They writhe in some sort of ritualistic, hedonistic kind of manner for an ascension ceremony where Bad Twin is given magical powers, but Good Twin is not, for plot reasons. And
by
there's
the
no reason.
way, at this point, there is literal singing in the soundtrack. Power of one, power of two, power of many.
Yes.
There's like a chorus in the background. I thought that
It's straight occult.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And they marked her with a brand on her head.
Yes, this is straight occult stuff. So
if only they had listened to Charmed, the power of three could have actually set them free.
And I just want to go back to the first episode. That's when Trinity actually recognized her with the tattoo.
Yes. So then Trinity value brand guys help me out, Qui-Gon. Yeah, off-brand Qui-Gon and Anna Rex Baca show up, and guilt-ridden white guy. They all show up and they ruin everything because they interrupt the religious ceremony, and Good Twin is not allowed to have magic ORGY dust blown in her face. And as a result, she doesn't get powers. And then the Jedi don't take the kids from their parents. but the Jedi put the kids in a position where they have to be tested so they can take them away from their parents. So the Jedi are clearly evil here, but for some unknown and really obscure reason, Good Twin doesn't want to be in the only place she's ever been in her life. She's never experienced anything else. She's never been exposed to anything else, and she's been taught that the Jedi are evil, but she wants to be a Jedi, gosh darn it, which makes absolutely no sense.
I don't even think she knows who the Jedi are at all. Like, to me, it was
then
like,
why does she want to?
Because
that's what was, like,
she wants
perplexing.
Adventure in the Great White somewhere.
I want to pull at this thread.
We're kind of breezing by some important things that I want.
All right, please, Jones, please.
These child actors are horrible, and I don't.
We said not to go after the kids. It was rule number one, Jonas. Go ahead.
Okay. I mean, the acting is so flat from these two girls, and I get it. This is I don't know. Maybe they did some community theater before this. I get it. It's very hard to take kids to auditions in Hollywood and whatever. But wow, the acting was flat on those kids. It was. I mean, when one of them delivers the line, "I'll kill you," I take it more seriously from my own kids. It's like there's no emotion whatsoever from these actresses that are supposed, and I'm assuming they're actresses. I mean, those horrible haircuts and wigs hide a lot. It's just so uninspired and not connecting. You long for the moments when the adults show up so that they can. I'm trying to find something outside of Star Wars that I could compare this to as far as horrible performances from a child.
Honestly, Jonas, it made me long for the days of, "Are you an angel?" from episode 1.
No,
because vindication for Jake Lloyd, by the way, because he's no longer the worst kid in Star Wars.
And he is head and shoulders above these two girls on this. And if they hadn't put so much on these two young actresses for the entire episode, that's what you put on. That's what you put on the director. When the child performance is not as good, you give them less things to say in the episode.
Someone named Koganada was the director.
Right. And he's directed, things that aren't that bad. Maybe there's a language barrier thing. I don't think there is, but it really, you do not put that much on a child actor when they aren't that good. Also, by the way, apparently they don't have ice cream in Star Wars, but they do have spice cream.
Space
no, it's
cream.
Space cream. It's worse than spice cream. That is the stupidest.
They
changed it to be spice cream.
They changed they changed it midway through. It's spice cream in the beginning, and then at the end, it's space cream.
The stupidest thing I have ever heard in any sci-fi show, and I'm talking about watching Mystery Science Theater 3000. I have never heard anything so stupid as space cream.
Can I ask a clarifying point here in the middle?
Sure.
So, not having seen this, the Jedi show up. This is obviously after the ritual occurred.
No, it's in the middle of it.
It's in the middle of it.
Right. The Jedi are there, and they don't come back until the evening when the ritual is going on.
Guys, we've got some significant audio in the background. Make sure we get that cut.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not sure where it's coming from.
Yeah,
we'll find it.
I think it's here.
It's Lorne.
It's Lorne. It's Lorne.
Anyway, we'll fix it, folks. Don't worry.
So I was going to say, like, going back on what Jonas was saying about too much being put on the kids, which I agree. You have to, especially with, and I think some of that is probably the director's fault, because this is 2 straight episodes back to back where line reading is just so flat. So I think some of that is probably the direction, and then, can be talent as well. But do you guys not feel that this is this episode, especially considering how many episodes are there? 6 or 8?
8.
There's 8. Okay, you've got 8 episodes. You are 2 episodes in. You have 6 left. This entire episode felt like something that any capable good writer would have just showed you, like, very short flashbacks throughout the entire 8 episodes, that, like, you got the gist of what you needed happen, but you didn't have a full episode wasted in this world. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, we didn't need a full 35 minutes of this world to let us see the information.
Because there's not that much interesting going on here, despite the fact that they are breaking so much about the canon here on this planet. There's really not that much going on here. There's not some special way that they function other than the fact that there's a coven. They have very different ideas about the Force, and they would claim that their ideas about the Force are reactionary to the line is some call it a force and claim to use it, as opposed to the Force is the thing that binds the galaxy together and all that.
And they've had an immaculate conception. They've had an immaculate conception of twins as well, which gives credence to what they're saying.
Can I point out something about that? Is that they made it a point to use the exact verbiage that Shmi Skywalker used when talking about Anakin, where she said, "There is no father."
Yeah, they have no father, and then she says, "You bore them," and the other one says, "And I created them."
Yeah, and it just that line really ticked me off because they just can't let. So I don't want to use the word sacred for Star Wars, but something in the Star Wars canon that it is what it is. They just can't let Anakin be the chosen one, the one that there was prophecy on, that there was.
They hate Anakin. They hate.
They can't let that one character that is literally the main story that George wanted to tell: the rise, the fall, and the redemption of Anakin Skywalker. I mean, that is
there
the
were
Skywalker
two before.
saga.
Right.
Yeah,
two before Anakin, not
there
just
were two before, so he's not
women
special.
of color. Yeah.
Accidental pro-life messaging in there too, by the way. A thread tied you together before you were born. That's I don't think that's a message that anyone like Leslie Headland would intentionally put in there.
Well, Lauren's got a question. Lauren, hop in here with your question you had.
I'm having trouble with the timeline because I think what you were saying is that this ritual is what created these twins, right?
No. The ritual is what is called the Ascension. It's what is supposed to make them full-fledged members of the Coven, I think, because there are no
it's like
children
a bar
on this
mitzvah.
planet
It's like a
except for
baptism kind of thing.
She shoots like purple magic onto their forehead, and then they get a brand. And then who knows what it actually does, though. They don't tell us.
All right. I was trying to understand how we went from conception to...
I'm assuming that whenever that happened, I'm hoping it happened privately, but I don't know how this coven operates.
The conception was just dialogue. We never saw any of that.
So I've got two things to ask the entire panel. Step one, and I'll tell both questions, then we'll take it one at a time. My first question is going to be about the witches' ORGY ritual, where they're writhing, they're physically... Can I say aroused? Okay, I won't. Folks, you get the idea. But they're doing that as part of this religious thing they're doing for the little girls. Okay. Does that have any place in a Star Wars show? That's the first question I've got for the panel. And then the second question I'm going to come back to is, does this forever alter the Force, and does it actually change the canon of the original movies when it seems like this show is saying that if you use the Force and call it the Force, you're an oppressor? So we'll start with question one about what were your thoughts on the writhing ceremony? John, I'm going to hand it to you first of all. What did you make of witchcraft writhing sexual ritual with little girls?
Yeah, so I thought it was obviously them trying to normalize like demonic satanic rituals. I think what Michelle said earlier, it's all allegory, and I think that's definitely what they were trying to do with that. As far as your second question, I was actually hoping the Jedi would show up and then butcher them there. Put an end to the use of the dark side there, and whatever kind of.
Clearly, the witches are presented as being good.
Sure, but I can still root for the Jedi killing these evil people.
Oh yeah, I'm with you. I'm just saying that from the perspective of the writer. From the perspective of the writer, the witches are good. Yeah.
Right. Well, Alan Moore also thought that Rorschach was people didn't like him, and he's like the most popular character out of his Watchmen book, right? He's the one who actually has a moral code. So these people can think whatever they want. That's not going to like change what is right and wrong. They can try and present things as that way, but it doesn't affect how like the audience views it. We even saw that with Eric Kripke recently. He's obviously with talking about the boys in Homelander. He's like kind of upset that some people view Homelander as like the hero of the show. But so yeah, that's kind of what I was hoping for. Obviously, I knew that wasn't going to happen. They did show up in the middle of it and put a stop to it. So,
but your position, John, is that the Jedi did later butcher the witches, right?
That is, I think, is what I suspect happened. Yeah.
Jonas disagrees.
Well, yeah. If the Jedi did it, they didn't do it with lightsabers. Everybody's got their hands. I'll point that out, and they were all in. For some reason, the main witch is off on her own. I don't know. It's just so strange. It's not a fire death. It's not a lightsaber death, and the placement is
it's a plot death.
Strange.
Did the deaths occur? Did the deaths occur when they were in the middle of the ritual?
No,
it was off screen a day after.
So the ritual happens. The Jedi show up, and they're in the middle of everything. I don't know why they couldn't have shown up during the daytime and interrupt everything. And they're hiding the kids in the middle of this whole thing because there's a crowd of them. They can do that, and they literally call out and say, "Come out here and join us." And whichever good twin with the Rick James wig comes out and like Saul shows her his lightsaber. It's actually it's a well acted little moment, at least on the Lee Jung Jae side, and then they all just kind of disperse. There's this argument about whether or not the kids need to go, and she's old enough to decide for herself. That was a line from the witch mom, which I thought was. And
these girls are presented as what, 8,
Yeah, then
9?
she instantly contradicted herself though by saying like we will have a discussion about this, but we will what is it? We will acknowledge your opinion.
Take your opinion into consideration.
The witches are overall good because they'll give the kids a choice. Hopefully, they don't do that on brushing teeth, but they'll give the kids a choice. Whereas the Jedi are there to test you and take you away with a blood sample. Right? That's the message.
Well, and she further contradicted herself because at one point she said something like kids don't know. One moment you want to be a Jedi. I was thinking, yes, can we get that message out, Disney? Kids don't need to be making certain decisions, but okay.
Yeah.
All right, so Michelle, it's your turn now. Tell us, do you think that this retcons the original movies now and recanonizes them?
I mean, yeah, I would say they're trying to, but like for me, no, because this is like bad. I don't, I don't want to say fan fiction because I don't really know that these people are fans. It's like badly written fiction from someone who claims to be a fan.
But yet this is canon. This is canon now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but in our hearts, is it canon? In our hearts. No,
I don't think that matters. I mean, they're gonna if they get any semblance of ratings, then this is where we're going. We're gonna keep going with this. We're gonna get more witches. It's gonna be witch. It's gonna be pulling the thread instead of the force. This is where we are. I see someone in chat saying this is Willow 2.0. This is worse than Willow.
Not like Willow.
Way worse.
Pro, do you remember a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, there were rumors that this was where this was going to go back then, that they wanted to focus more on the witches and what was going on in the extra galactic space in Ahsoka and where Skeleton Crew was going to go, and that they were going to try and make this more about witches in the background. Do you remember that?
I do, absolutely.
So, I mean, this has been floating around even before we started hearing these rumors about the Acolyte. It turns out that those from a year to a year and a half ago sounds like we're spot on.
Absolutely, 100%.
And I just want to give a concise answer to your answer, Pro. Yes, they are trying to change it, and it would if yes, it does technically change it. I say no because I don't think real Star Wars fans even accept this crap. It's just like when they write these books that no one's going to read and no one really cares about.
Well, when Michelle says that this is crap, you know that it's really hit the fan. Marvin, walk us through how, if this is canon, and it is, if this is Lucasfilm's official storyline for Star Wars, walk us through how this changes the original movies.
It fundamentally changes them because everything we have been told, everything George told us about what this is, about what the Force is, what the Chosen One is, it's all gone now. It's all out the window. This felt like it was done with malice. It felt like it was done to take this from George Lucas, to make this. It's written by a blockheaded narcissist who can do nothing but shape things into her. And what she is a twisted, ugly individual. And she had to make the Star Wars universe twisted and ugly. Anakin Skywalker, there's now no longer anything special. This is what Chris Chibnall did to Doctor Who. It's exactly what he did to Doctor Who with The Timeless Child. It fundamentally changes everything that we know about the lore in order to transfigure this into something new that nobody wants or even acknowledges anymore. It was I can't even. It is. I'm trying to think how to. But I do agree with what Lauren said. I think that the witches and the magic and all that stuff, that's the future of Star Wars, because you can easily make that the Force is female. That can be always all women. You never have to deal with men using the Force again. The fact that now the Jedi are colonizers and the Jedi are appropriators. I mean, it's all just so blunt. It's like a hammer. It's a sledgehammer. All right, she's beating the messaging into our heads, and it's dead. If last week killed Star Wars, this week just took the ashes and blew it all into the just out into space. It's done. It's gone.
Let's see how the Twitterverse is responding to all of this, folks. This is just looking at the latest. We're not going to curate this in any way. El Corredor de Kessel says, "Bueno, pero yo las vi muy cariñosas en una escena, ¿no crees?" Essentially, it's okay, but not. You can't like both Star Wars and the Acolyte, says King Sausage Fingers. We've got from Redlid, the Acolyte, a series we can't even seen the entirety of yet, is worse than The Last Jedi. Agreed. We have, none of the Acolyte actors or directors saw any of the Star Wars films, so can we pretend we saw the Acolyte and just make up stuff also? And continues on. Endymion, friend of the channel, says the third episode of Star Wars, The Acolyte, basically ruins the original films with all the creative decisions made within just this one 44-minute episode. Anakin is no longer special. Because this is from Endymion, we're going to read the whole thing. Anakin is no longer special. The Force can be whatever you want, and lesbians can give birth to twins without the need of men. New video tomorrow, guys. And folks, go check out. Oh, we can't watch that. Nope. Folks,
Bro.
We'll switch back out.
Hey, you want to do super chats?
Sorry, Jonas. We headed towards scissor territory. But folks, go check out Endymion with his video tomorrow. There's going to be a deluge of content coming from creators who are going to be slamming this. Folks, we're about to do super chats. Before we do, we promised a major announcement, and we are here to bring that to you, folks. For those of you who suffered through this, as we top 3,500 in the chat, for those of you who suffered through this, you see what has happened to Hollywood. You see what has happened to Disney. You see what has happened to Lucasfilm and Star Wars. We have for a while now been saying that someone needs to step up to the plate and get started creating content again, good content. And folks, we are ready to do that. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to announce for the very first time right now what we've been working on for many, many months. Some of the panelists here know about it, some don't. But for the past many months, we have been working with various musicians, using every sort of tool in the toolkit that we have. And we are going to be releasing on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, the very first creative endeavor by the Pro Channel and everybody involved. Folks, we're going to launch a brand new radio station, 24/7 radio station on YouTube, and it's going to feature entirely original content. Every single song original, every single lyric written by me. There are 2 songs that feature other languages that I had to get some help on. But folks, if you would subscribe to @Vacation Radio, that's @Vacation Radio on YouTube, we will be launching that Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, following my Inside Out 2 review. And folks, at the end of this show today, we're going to play 3 of the songs that will be on Vacation Radio, a 24/7 nonstop radio station. Folks, we intend to release more of this. And next year, I'm here to tell you for the very first time, we intend, although we cannot guarantee, but next year we intend to bring short film releases to you. We are going full force into creating an all-new, entirely new media organization that is going to be launching original content, because we can't take any more of the Acolyte. So Vacation Radio, it's @Vacation Radio. Please subscribe, folks. Again, at the end of this show, we're going to play 3 songs that'll be featured from it. All original content, all original music. And it is the beginning, the first step of us taking back entertainment and putting it back where it should be, which is good stuff. All right, Jonas, it is time to hit those super chats. So, folks, there are a bunch of super chats. We're going to get to them. We are going to have more commentary and perhaps more guests later on talking about this 3rd episode of The Acolyte and what it does to Star Wars. But, Jonas, super chat time right now.
Yep. Packing protons for $5. Do you think Tiana and Boralite will be mentioned by investors on the next call? Yes, on Tiana, for sure.
I think Epcot has a better chance of coming up.
Well,
that's my take, and I'm sticking with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Let's see here. This is a carryover from earlier. Some girl became a YouTube member at the potential level. Welcome aboard. Go and Shogi for $4.99. They can Acco fight with all their Acco might, but this show is dead because it Acco bites. Rest in peace, Star Wars. You deserve so much better. That's right. If Luke had only gotten home quicker, we wouldn't be looking at the charred corpse of our beloved franchise. Carrie Hetzel, I believe this is carrying over from earlier today. Let's see. I'm going to go to the fan funding tab and see if I can look this up here. Rep Sisig, not exactly. Repsis G became a YouTube member at the potential level. Welcome aboard. Packing protons for 2. Sorry, on the next adventure of lesbians in space.
Love it.
Ruby Hove.
Muppets are great.
5. Yeah.
I
it's
concur.
Something a little bit different there. Yeah. Ruby Hove gifted 5 WDW Pro memberships. I think let me see if I can jump ahead here. Nolan Thunder also gifted 1 WDW Pro membership, and Dustin Sensenig gifted 10 WDW Pro memberships. Thank you so much, Dustin. And William Thompson gifted 20 WDW Pro memberships. Oh my goodness, mercy sakes alive. And also, Red Tigress gifted 5, and Samuel Main gifted 1 WDW Pro membership. Thank you so much to all of you. William Thompson, Samuel Main, Red Tigress, Dustin, thank you. And Nolan, you're amazing. And Ruby Hove for
that's right. And folks, for all of those memberships, despite how fast we need to move, a very quick celebration for what you have done.
I want to hear it.
Not right now.
Yes, now, Dusty Bun.
Wait. Okay.
Perfect. Ken Reihard, member for 8. So is Star Wars pining for the fjords? That's right. There are huge tracts of land in this, but they don't play much into it. It's
where was this film? Where was that?
I don't know. This one was actually shot internationally. I think we remember that from. Yeah, so this wasn't shot.
It just looked like Earth. Yeah, just looked like Earth.
Right.
Every nondescript planet on this show, they're all nondescript.
And then Shinfield. Yeah, they've run out of.
This was Brindick. Brenda with a K.
Yeah, that's right. Linus for $5. Before you start, it's not Lucasfilm anymore. It's Kennedy Film. This isn't what Lucas created. I agree.
True.
Does this end the Kennedy reign, guys and girls? I mean, does this end this? You think she can survive after this?
No, she survived everything else.
This makes The Last Jedi look like Mozart. Come on.
She took the most important film trilogy of our lifetime and put no planning in it. She winged it from the start. I mean, if that didn't get rid of her right there, there's got to be something in her contract. I believe the rumor that there's something in her contract that says they can't fire her.
Whether or not there's something in her contract, I get the idea that they cannot fire her. There's something going on. She's powerful enough in Hollywood.
We've all come to the conclusion that perhaps Kathleen Kennedy has some sort of dark art that this allows them from being able to ever get rid of her, despite every single semblance of common sense saying to let her go.
One thing I'll say for Last Jedi, at least it had a sense of humor about itself. All of this, there's not a single joke. There's not a single smiling line in any of this.
No. This is very
It's a
serious.
slog, the entire thing. SFX Sabertooth Raptor for 5. A good palate cleanser, Lauren. Toss the Alf with Mexican Iron Man to keep your sanity.
Toss the Alf sounds uncomfortably close to a euphemism. And after everything that they've said about this episode, I don't want to go there.
That's right. No one tosses an elf.
You're the one who's out of this world, sweet baby. You're the one.
Hail WDW Pro in chat. Given that the movie theaters might close, can Nintendo and anime save them, or will Nintendo be forced to only stream their upcoming movies? On a side, let's see what you cooked up. Hopefully, Nintendo can be saved right now, because there's a lot of woke garbage coming out of Nintendo of America's Treehouse division up there.
Yeah,
That's
they have
right.
their own
And,
problems.
Well,
in terms of what, go ahead, Marvin.
The head of Nintendo America is a man named Bowser, so it might be his evil plan to take Nintendo and the Mushroom Kingdom down forever.
That's
Fair
right.
point.
And in terms of what we're up to, well, I can tell you that the radio station, which is the first step in launching our own creative media enterprise, we're going to launch with 60 original songs. We're going to debut 3 of those at the end of the show, and you be the judge of whether or not we can take on Disney and the rest of them with the quality of the music we're ready to bring. We're excited to bring that to you. And folks, at the end, you decide. Are they full of crap, or do we have the goods? Are we bringing good stuff to you? And we're going to actually launch a forthright, full-blown media effort. We'll see.
And packing protons for $2. A hate watch is still a watch. No season 2, please. I don't think this one's getting a season 2. I really don't.
You can't.
John,
so let me ask this real quick, panel. And I know we got to go through super chats, but I think this is important. What's going to happen to viewership after this episode? Fair enough. Anyone disagree with that? Did this drive everyone away who's not forced to watch it?
I'll actually think that'll probably look something like Doctor Who that we're seeing in the UK, where it kind of stabilizes around 2 million. It looks like in the UK at least. So I think it'll probably
is that good, John, to stay on the Nielsen charts?
Well, I'm saying that it'll crash, but then whatever it crashes to, it'll probably stabilize at.
Right. So what I'm asking, John, is do you think that will be sufficient to stay on the Nielsen charts, or does this pull an Andor?
I think it's Miss Marvel where it doesn't, or whatever. Yeah, Miss Marvel doesn't show up on the Nielsen charts. Because we already have the Luminate charts where it's like 8th already. So
you think that this is going to land? You think after episode 3, so when we get to episode 4, because this is going to drive away 50% of the audience. So you think that this is going to be in Miss Marvel territory, or do you think it's worse than that?
I think it's going to be worse than that. I mean, we're already seeing that it's
agree.
like 200 million. If you buy the Luminate stuff, it's already worse than Ahsoka. I definitely feel it's already like an 8th on the Luminate stuff. So, and honestly, if 200 million, that's already off the Nielsen charts usually. I think it's just kind of a dry time right now across the board, but definitely feel like it will probably fall off.
I'll also say, as far as it being a dry time, that'll work in Acolyte's favor, being like the only thing that's out right now.
What was the record that Rings of Power set for percentages of people that like started the show and they lost
62.
like what 62? I think we can go higher for this. I think this could lose more people than than Rings of Power did.
I think this loses. Well,
the only thing that I'll argue against
high.
that is Rings of Power has exactly. Rings of Power actually had a lot of interest in it to start off with.
I think this got a shot at losing 70%. What do you think, John?
I think that's probably a little high, just because I don't think that there's people watching it to begin with. I mean, it's already lower than Ahsoka by a ton. Like I crunched some numbers based on what Lucasfilm is giving us. They said it was 11.1 million over the first week globally, where we saw that Ahsoka was around 14 million. But if you look at the Nielsen numbers for Ahsoka, it was 829 million minutes viewed, and you obviously factor in the runtime and all that stuff, and kind of like a basic algebra formula, it comes to just 820 million minutes viewed total globally for the Acolyte. That is worse than Ahsoka just in the United States. So I already feel like the people have already abandoned the show. Just they didn't even tune in the first place, because Star Wars continually is driving people away every show that they release.
Absolutely. Before we go further, Michelle, I know you've got to go.
Well,
folks,
actually, I have
more...
to say this before Michelle
Go ahead.
William Thompson for 50. So if Star Wars is dead, is there anything out there that can take its place? And Lauren Connor, is there any way they can retcon this all at all? And Michelle, where's my rooster dance? And Jonas Campbell, you're the greatest, second only to Vash Sky. I agree with all of it. Where is the rooster dance?
The Rooster Dance comes out on Force of Light Entertainment on Mondays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
All right. Well, we'll answer all the rest of these.
Like Peter Pan?
No, Rooster from Top Gun. You know, the beach team.
Okay.
Oh, yes. All right. So, Michelle, I know you have to go. Folks, we're probably going to have some more panelists joining us in a little bit. We're waiting to see if Andre is going to wake up. It's a little early for Midnight's Edge right now, about 5 a.m. his time. But Michelle, before you go, please share with the audience out there where they can find you on this great, big, beautiful web and what exactly is coming out soon on Force of Light Entertainment.
Yes, well, you can find me and my sister at Force of Light Entertainment on YouTube, also on Twitter and Instagram. But you can look for tomorrow morning. I will be putting out my full thoughts, my full review on this episode, and we'll kind of go, point by point, the issues that I take with this episode. So if you're interested, definitely come over to Force of Light Entertainment, and you can just continue the Acolyte coverage over there after this. But thank you guys for having me on, and have a good rest of your chat.
Michelle, thank you so much for being here. And folks, if you are not yet subscribed to Force of Light, you are missing out, and you do not want to miss out on the next video regarding the Acolyte. Michelle has a PhD. She is incredibly intelligent, and I cannot wait to hear more of her allegory theory about this fleshed completely out. Michelle, thanks for being here.
Thank you. And if you guys figure out how a white woman had 2 black babies with no male, you guys let me know.
Zap alien, remember?
Okay.
He was an alien.
All right.
All right. Now, wait a minute. No, Jonas, go back to that super chat. There's more to that. We've got to get the answers. If you can pull that back up.
Okay.
Maybe difficult. Do you have it? Okay, here we go. So there's more to that. So Lorne, let's go to you on this. Is there any way that they can retcon what you've heard about tonight?
Well, my stock answer is no. You can't fix this without discarding everything that they've done. But I think, in a way, Acolyte may be a special case in the sense that I feel like it's already been sort of discarded, because I don't think people are going to buy this. I think it's going to be rejected almost immediately. And so, given that, I mean, they could keep trying to push this up the hill, but it ain't going to work. This is not going to fly with the audience. So what that means for the rest of it remains to be seen. But no, this alone, at the very least, has to be burned and thrown away. There's no way this can stick and continue to go on. I am convinced.
I'd have to kill him.
I am convinced that this is why George came out before the show debuted and made those comments about saying that nobody understood the Force but him. I think he knew what was coming here and wanted to
100%.
Yep.
So do you think he saw
so
this?
Obvious now.
I don't know if he saw it or not, but
he was given a heads up, I think.
Oh, he knew about it for sure. 100%
Well, I
knew
about it, yes. I'm not sure if he would have viewed this. It's like, I think he's been subjected to the same crap that we have, and I'm not sure he would want to watch it. So I think hearing about it is bad enough. I haven't watched it. I'm confused about most of the stuff you guys are saying, and that's enough for me to know this is truly terrible stuff. I wouldn't want to watch it. So I can't imagine you.
I think what you've brought up, though, Lauren, that deserves further conversation here in a little bit, because you're exactly right. I'm thinking now that George saw this or heard about what it was, and he came out with that statement of nobody understands the Force but me, which is a real slap in the face of Disney and Kathleen Kennedy. And after seeing this, I think it's needed. So, all right, Jonas, let's continue on.
All righty. John Maynor for $1.99. Trigger warning, I want everything to be spoiled. There's literally a moment where the twins look at each other and go, "What have you done? What have you done? What have you done?" And it's not even as funny as I just said it right there. It's flat delivery from possibly the same actress on either side of a split screen. I don't know. It's just so flat.
And John, you cannot spoil that which is already rotten. John?
Packing protons for 2. Golden Girls in Star Wars redeemed. Thank you for being a friend.
I would have listened. If B. Arthur had showed up, the episode would have been 10 times better.
Could you imagine if she was like Mother Yass, like the main one? It was just B. Oh, I would have loved that actually.
Well, she was already busy running the cantina while Wooher was away.
Put in there Harvey Korman too with the multiple arms, because it's like that'd be great.
Whip, stir, whip. Packing protons for $2. Don't run with scissors, kids. Yeah.
Solid advice.
Industrious Bear for $5. The Acolyte or Star Wars: The Trouble with I think I'm not supposed to say that word.
Oh, is that a bad word?
I don't know.
I have
What
no
is
idea
that
what
word?
means.
I don't either.
I'm too scared to Google
The Trouble
it,
with Tribalism. Packing protons for $2. If you don't light it, you don't have to design it. Well, they did.
Correct.
They did light the entire place on fire. I'll point
the
that.
whole thing. I think.
I'm
By the
pretty
way,
sure
I think
that's about Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
good point about that. By the way, guys, I think the last super chat was a reference to Star Trek. Also, it could be a reference to a Futurama episode that took on that same thing. And anyway.
All righty. Brandon for $1.99. If my hair looked like his, I'd take the poison too.
He simultaneously looks 13 and 50.
Yeah, he ages a lot in 16 years.
In my review, I called him Jedi Master White Guilt, and his white guilt is so guilty that she can't penetrate it.
Darn it, we called him Dalsim, and that's better. You beat us. Darn you.
John JID for $5. There's many comparisons to Disney and AEW. It's crazy. Not respecting history, and apologists are rampant with gassing up everything, and hating the fans.
He's right. He's
right.
100% right. It's just because in each one of these entities, somebody at the head of it who is writing has no idea how to tell a story and thinks they know everything.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Packing protons for $5. So like the Fates from RGB manipulating lines, threads by cutting them with scissors. Oh,
yeah.
I just got the joke.
Yep. Scissors. There are heavily involved scissors.
You can actually see it too. They outline it. Like you can visibly see the Force when she.
Well, you can see the thread, which by the way, proves that what she's saying is true, John. What she's saying is true because she actually shows the thread. It means the Force has always been fake. It's not real. The Force is a misconception because she literally shows the thread to all of the students.
I couldn't believe that they made it visible. I could not believe it.
I found that super offensive.
Yep.
Lauren,
you've never even seen a ripple in the air when they use the Force ever.
Lauren, Lauren, that's the first time you've heard of that. What do you think about them showing the Force and it's literally a visible thread?
That to me is less offensive than the other stuff, just because there are other Force sects that, I see John rolling his eyes. there are other Force sects that manipulate the Force in different ways. With the Night Sisters, there was a lot of green fire and stuff like that. So it tends to manifest depending on how you interpret it. I don't see that as being such a bad thing.
Okay. Just
there's always going to be the faction that says that there are no other Force sects. There are only the Jedi. So it depends on how you're interpreting it as a viewer.
Well, and the Sith. We'll go with the Sith too for the dark side of it, but showing the Force, and it's a literal thread that she pulls with her fingers. And then when they have their outdoor ORGY ritual with the kiddos, and they're pulling the entire group is pulling on threads in the air and having some sort of writhing experience. Very weird. Very weird.
It was like it reminded me of the cave scene in Zion when they're all dancing in the second Matrix, except Carrie-Anne Moss is having a much worse time in this one than she was there. If anybody remembers that scene.
This does have two things that Star Wars has never had in live action. The first being, as Lauren said, sex, and of course with the Mandela Stenberg, violence.
I felt like I was watching an occult version
violins,
of Xanadu. Yeah. That's what I thought this was. This is the occult version of Xanadu in half of the episode.
Yep. Robert Harmon for 10. I'll gladly give you guys my money for watching this instead of Disney. You guys deserve it for stomaching this goofiness called Star Wars. God bless y'all. Well, God bless you too, Robert Harmon.
Yes, and Robert, as my wife said, folks, you may not have heard this. We said at the beginning of the show, my wife walked in, looked at, and she came in right when the witches were all doing their writhing thing, where they were all aroused together. And my wife looked at it and just said, "I'm so sorry you have to watch this garbage," and she walked off. So,
But by the way, I want to clarify, Jonas. When I was talking about forced sex earlier, it was SECTS.
Yes, I know. I wouldn't have made the joke otherwise.
All right, good enough. Just
Yes.
want to make sure I wasn't offending your sensibilities.
No, I was talking about violins as in the stringed instruments. So, yeah, John Coleman for 5. This thread stuff is how Wheel of Time's magic system works. So they have poached from other fantasy books to go after this. Great. That's how Filoni works. He is a felonious creator.
I thought that at any point an owl might fly down and land on one of the twins.
Well, they already used an owl in Acolyte, didn't they?
The thread in Wheel of Time though is also kind of like in your head though. Like it's not like a physical manifestation that other people can see. Only people that can are in tune with whatever I forget what the power is called. Like Aes Sedai and all those. Only those people can actually see that stuff.
RGB equals real ghost. Okay. This is referencing earlier. Real Ghostbusters. Yeah.
And the first season of RGB is one of the best series of cartoon episodes ever made. I love the first season of Real Ghostbusters.
All right. Ken Reihard for $2. I'll get you my pretty and your little force too. I will say Jodie Turner-Smith, not a bad actress in all of this. She at least delivered her lines with feeling. Ruby Hove for $5. Thank you for watching this travesty so we didn't have to. I would say you're welcome, but it's all part of the job.
Yep.
May the Force be with you for $5. So Robert Jordan's Aes Sedai are now in Star Wars. See, this is before we started talking about Wheel of Time. Is there a single original thought that can come out of Disney? Not while Dave Filoni is the chief creative officer of Lucasfilm.
I mean, listen, they went back to Immaculate Conception, except with twins. So, I mean, they are literally just ripping off their own franchise now and trying to play one-upsmanship on the only thing that held the narrative together in the original movies.
Here's another one. Ryan Matheson for $1.99. The Force is Sayadine, or is it Satan? And the thread is Sidar. Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
Yep. My guess, Hangout for 10. I think I'm going to stick with watching the original trilogy and the prequels. It's a safe bet. I will not, nor do I want to watch any more of this, save for the original trilogy and the prequels. Star Wars is dead.
Okay, I want to ask a question to the panel based on this super chat. This is serious, and I think the audience will appreciate me asking this. If you put, and Marvin, let's start with you. If you put the original Star Wars movie, A New Hope, although it was not called A New Hope at the time, if you put it out on the television and you watched it, and then you watched the Acolyte Episode 3, and you didn't tell someone this is Star Wars, this is not Star Wars, or anything like that, would you ever conclude that this is the same world, that this is the same franchise?
Oh, absolutely not. Everything from the way it's shot to the way it's edited to the way it's written. I mean, it is so far removed from anything George Lucas had ever created or anything that came after. It looks like it is a completely different thing. And, there's some joy and mystery and wonder to A New Hope. And there's just dull darkness in this.
Well, folks, as we continue to go through these super chats, we're going to bring back a panelist who you all love and adore. Please welcome Michelle from Force. No, I kid. It's X-Wing. X-Wing, welcome back, sir.
Hey.
Sorry. She would have been so much better.
X-Wing, we were just
back.
asking the question of if you put A New Hope onto a television screen and let somebody watch it, they've never seen Star Wars before in their life, and then without saying anything, you put the Acolyte Episode 3 on directly after it, would someone ever conclude this is the same franchise, or are these so divorced that you don't even, there's no way they're in the same galaxy?
I think they would have said Star Trek, modern Star Trek, probably.
Discovery, maybe?
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's kind of how I felt. I was watching them. Like, this kind of feels like somebody came down from the Enterprise and they're on a planet they know nothing about, and this is kind of a story, a self-contained story on a different planet.
Is there a worse Star Trek episode in the history of all Star Trek than Acolyte Episode 3?
And the children must lead. Yeah. There are definitely worse Star Trek episodes.
Okay.
I don't think for the implications for the entirety of Star Trek, in the way that this is going to be damaging to Star Wars, there are definitely worse Star Trek. Masks comes to mind in TNG. This is not the worst thing that has ever been put together as in a singular episode. But when you start thinking about the implications for the entirety of it and the blatant propaganda that they put into this, I think it has more far-reaching effects. And the fact that this is the best they could do with $200 million. This isn't that they needed to fill a slot and they need to get 26 episodes of these out. And so, okay, well, we're gonna miss a week as far as quality, but people will forgive us next week. This is the best they could do. They have 2 of these this entire year, 2 of these series, and there's only 8 episodes apiece on each of those series. And this is the garbage they come up with. And
no, this is the best. And if you don't feel that way, shame on you.
Exactly.
Shame on you. You are the problem, sir.
$5. How does a tiny lantern burn stone buildings and an entire mountain?
Cameron, I wanted to
burnt or crushed.
I wanted to make fun of this later. You've taken my opportunity. Darn you, Cameron! You're so you knew where we were going. Guys, what do you make of the idea that a stone building was engulfed in flames? When did we get flammable?
It wasn't though. Like
explain
that's
it
what
then.
I'm saying. The Jedi killed them.
With forced fire?
But
the forced fire was only on the door, and then they had like the explosion.
Then why did she have to escape through the? Why did she suddenly have a new power that we never knew about before, which is lock picking? She's plus 75 lock picking. So why did she have to lock pick if only the door's on fire?
It was
Stress
just
adds plus
her
12
room.
to sneak.
That was her room. After she gets out of the room, she goes into that
Nuclear reactor.
the other room, the nuclear reactor. Which
I attach that to every child's bedroom.
I didn't know they had nuclear technology in Star Wars.
Well, it's
I
some
don't
kind
know
of
what
reactor.
it is. It's a reactor of some sort. Fission.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Some kind of energy source.
But so I was laughing at that heartily. I was having a hearty laugh
terrible.
As the stone was burning. And one of my people in my chat pointed out to me that the reason why the stone was burning is because it was rich in fossil fuels, and the only reason the Jedi were there were to take the fossil fuels from the planet that they were on.
But wait a minute, X-Wing, you're telling me that you don't believe that every child's bedroom has a direct and one-way and no other options tunnel that connects with a reactor? You're telling me that
if you're
was
an
a farce?
effective parent, yes.
Perfect.
Obviously.
For the next super chat, Jonas.
Nolan Thunder, just want to say thanks again for that 1 membership.
Yes.
Kenny McCormick for $4.99. I'm genuinely convinced that Kathleen Kennedy and the writers were on some heavy lubrication while writing this script. Put her on the next SpaceX rocket.
I don't think it's a wise thing to call it lubrication with this episode.
That's the wrong place to go.
Inebriation?
Intoxicants.
Woke mind virus.
Yeah, I think they were on space cream.
Spice cream.
Or is it spice cream?
It's
spice
cream. John's right.
No,
They switched
it's both.
I
It's
thought
both.
I want to call it
They
spice
say
cream.
spice in the beginning, and then later it's space.
It's cream in spice.
I was watching Spice. I was watching Spice. I was watching subtitles. Yeah, spice creams. Isn't spice a heavily regulated and highly illegal drug?
It's a narcotic.
Spice drugs. Yeah.
It's
and they're like, let's make candy out of it and give it to kids.
Worse,
Well,
it
these
was
people are
always
evil, that's what
trim.
I'm saying. That's why the
Nope.
Jedi should have been like butchering them in the beginning. They shouldn't have waited to.
They're drugging
test
children.
their
Drug
kids.
traders. Yeah.
I fully believe that the former personal assistant of Harvey Weinstein came up with the idea for spice cream.
Agreed. Agreed.
Dustin Sensenig gifted 10 WDW Pro memberships. Thank you again, Dustin, for that.
Absolutely.
Josh Berg for 5. How much did Meta or Facebook pay Disney to change the Force to Threads?
That's a great super chat. That is a great super chat.
Beautiful.
We've all been zucked.
Jay Ward with $5 right here. I don't think it's a super sticker. I just think it's $5. Thank you very much, Jay Ward. I'm gonna double check here just to make sure. Yep. And if y'all want to give that a thumbs up, you can. Floral from Under a Rock member for 13. I'm getting the impression you guys didn't like it.
We'll give it a numerical score at the end of the video today. At the end of the show, we'll tell you what grade we give this in terms of number. But woof.
He got that dog in him.
Cameron Marlowe again for 5. It's not about good or evil. It's about power is exactly the type of line I expect from Weinstein's former personal assistant. Yes, she did that job for like 4 years, by the way, despite somebody saying she only worked for him for 1 year.
Yeah, did you see that? Everybody on Twitter was like, oh, she was only there for like 3 months. Nah, fam.
Total gaslighting. Total gaslighting on that one.
Which,
Actually,
by the way, means they don't care one iota about any of the things that happened, or else they would not justify it and be like, oh, no, she was only there for a little bit of time. Like that makes it any better one way or the other.
We also totally forgot about the witch Yoda that like randomly just shows up and gives like the most like.
Oh, that was Mama Odie.
Oh, I thought that was Droopy Dog.
That was Mama Odie.
That
Oh
was
my
Droopy.
gosh,
She
that was
knows.
Mama Odie.
Oh, was it? Was it actually the same actress?
No, but it straight up was Mama
Oh.
Odie. Okay. She came out to tell the witches to dig a little deeper.
The
Bro,
first
I
change
hate you.
that those Jedi are going to do is take a copy of the Constitution. Burn it.
Jonas, you beat me to it. I was going to say the Jedi will walk into the Library of Congress.
Can we get that Mama Odie Star Wars character's face on Jennifer Lewis in that clip?
Oh
That
my
would be wonderful.
God.
Let's do it.
You gotta dig a little deeper.
Cameron Marlowe for $1.99. The power of many.
Pull
I
out
don't know.
all those threads. You gotta dig a little deeper.
Like
I
they just
could not remember the actual tune for the life of me. It's just kind
As
of
that
boring
was
in there.
happening, I can already see in the Disney parks the gathering of like, hey girls, come here, come on, everyone, let's pull the threads of the Force. And you know they're gonna do this in the parks. We're like,
Oh yeah,
power of one.
You assume there are people in the parks.
Power of three doesn't matter to me. Like their little fucking
get-
dance. Oh my!
They should get kicked out for indecency if they do it. I
Can
want
I
to know
say
how
this?
they instructed these women to act that way. Like, can you imagine what the
They weren't
instructions
doing
were
the same
when they were
thing.
explaining it?
It wasn't. They weren't choreographed. They were.
No, it
They
wasn't
were all doing their
choreographed.
own little. They're all doing their different things.
One stupid dumb thing though, like yes, if you're force pushing against one other person, yeah, and then two people force push against one person, obviously it's going to be stronger. No duh. This is not what are we trying to point out here?
Did you like the Hadouken
Exactly.
too? She's like,
Oh yeah.
Hadouken.
Yeah, but she did her little blitzball pose from Final Fantasy X.
Oh, wow. That's been a long time right there. Red Tigress for $5. Where is the emotion in these characters? No emotions, touches their voices or eyes, very deadpan. Yeah, that's the whole thing here. I think you've got two good actors or actresses in this entire thing.
Jae Jung Lee and Jodie Turner Smith. Is that who you're going to say?
Yeah, that's about it that I can tell. I mean, even
Jung Lee's giving his best.
Even
I was
the
gonna
lady
say-
that I thought was a Dathomirian, it's all
Oh,
flat.
is she not?
The-
Is she Dathomirian?
No, she's
She's
a Zabrak.
She's a Zabrak.
Okay,
Iridonian
just a
Zabrak.
Zabrak.
But yeah, it's,
Okay.
well, the Iridonian Zabraks also were the Night Brothers, and they lived on Dathomir. So
Yeah.
I get it.
Oh, well, they're all the same to me.
They probably mix.
Jenny McCormick for $1.99. To quote Spaceballs, we've reached ludicrous speed. Yep. That's where we are. Nolan Thunder for $2. Lesbian fan fiction. It is a fan faction, though, but not the sexy kind.
Not at all. This was definitely not sexy in any way,
And,
shape, form, or fashion.
We brought it up before, but I want to say again, thank you very much to William Thompson for gifting 20 WDW Pro memberships. And Heath Nielsen for $1.99. Hi, Pro. Are you ready to pull up what I said earlier? Is that this one right here?
Yeah, it is. We found it.
Earlier in the day, these writers are not doing writing for everyone. They are writing for themselves. As a result, Inside Out 2 in this new episode is not appealing to the masses.
We're going to find about Inside Out 2 and a live review as soon as I leave the theater. Will be happening 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time Thursday. A live reaction review. We'll do it Thursday, folks, and we'll find out what happens to poor little Riley as she apparently is conditioned with anxiety now.
What's the number one rule of storytelling?
Hey guys,
Don't be boring.
the Acolyte audience score on Rotten Tomatoes right now is at 25%.
Ooh, going lower.
How low can it go?
And lower. Reggie Reg for $2 was Jedi Master cholesterol in this episode. No, he wasn't there yet.
And he
It's
wasn't a
Jedi Master
master.
low
He wasn't a master. Yeah, and he wasn't a master. He was a Fadawan.
Yeah.
Poor kid. Poor kid. Tennille 89. You know, speaking of which, I mean, that could be the name that he would get if George Lucas actually named him. I wonder if Jack Porkins was actually named Porkins before or after that actor was
There's a
cast in
great
that role.
there was a great cut thing from Robot Chicken where they were like, "Cover me, Porkins," and he was like, "What did you just call me?" And somebody was like, "Cover me, fatty."
Love it.
Tennille 89 for 2. Jonas, binary conveys more inflection than this. Yeah.
Well, we all know that this is totally not true, and the audience should never be listened to, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's toxic.
Anyone who's saying this is obviously review bombing it. There's
Right.
not massive number of people who are watching YouTube videos and cheering on everyone that is presiding over this dumpster fire. That's all imaginary. We're all a bunch of bots.
But if it gets a high audience score, they're like, "See, they love it."
Here's
Russian AI
falling
bots
too, though.
every time.
Here's what I would say to the people at Rotten Tomatoes: search your feelings; you know them to be true. G and the Machine for $5. Acolyte should have been called Star Wars: An Artificial Insemination Story.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
You get a little
Doggy.
horse whinny in the background.
Doggy for 2. Again, Acolyte is Owl House meets Velma in space. Yep.
It's Velma. It's Velma.
I agree.
It has the
Skycast.
same malice. It has the same malice for the IP that Velma has.
Hey, real quick, guys, did you? It's totally clear now, right, that the Jedi are the patriarchy and the witches are the matriarchy in Star Wars. Is that fair?
Don't
Yeah.
forget
That's
colonialism.
patriarchy,
Get colonialism in there somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's colonialism.
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
And appropriation.
And
Skycast,
child kidnappers.
Yeah.
definitely.
Kidnapping
Definitely.
Child
colonialists.
raiders.
Yeah.
Skycast.
No, he said we don't take children.
We just steal their blood.
Yeah. There you go.
Floating Dalcine guy. What'd you call him, Marvin? What'd you call him?
Jedi Master
White
White Guilt.
Okay, Jedi Master White Guilt. Apparently, his guilt came from not informing a child that he's about to stab them before he does so. What? That hurt. What did
I
you
must
do?
take the
Oh,
brash
nothing. Just
vow.
stabbed you.
Skycast for 5. I certainly hope they get past their destruction, but I can't say that will happen anytime soon unless the Fire Nation attacks or the Spanish.
That'd be a welcome change. Welcome change.
Yep.
That's right.
Steve C, member for 12. It was a typo in the writer's room. This is the farce.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's rough.
Now, commence Operation Vacuum Suck. Suck.
Nick Alanin for $7.99. I'd rather give you guys the cost of a Disney Plus sub than Disney. Here's a little something for the gigawatts.
Thank you. The hamsters are running even smoother because you have helped us keep the lights on.
Yep. Thank you again to Red Tigress for the 5 and Samuel Main for the 1 WDW Pro membership. We appreciate both of you very much. And guys, make sure you say thank you if you got a gifted membership today. Philly Chew, $2.15 for 5. Why are Osha and May identical as adults but not as children? This show is so bad. I couldn't tell if they were twins or not.
Well, one has a little bit of a different body type than the other, and maybe
Because they can
slightly
grow
different
up to be whatever they want to be.
That's right.
They
Unless
can never
it's a
change
Jedi.
their hair. They can never change their hair.
Yeah. Okay. Were they not identical twins as kids? Because I couldn't figure it out.
They were. It was 2 twins.
Okay.
Yeah. Real twins.
I also noticed that when their hair was being done for the Ascension ceremony, that of course the 2 women who were working on their hair were the correct demographic to be working on their hair.
I mean, Wipo Peepo don't know how to do that.
aliens can't either.
Well,
Aliens
neither do Twi'leks. What do they know about hair? They just got Leku.
I mean, they steam them sometimes in the morning. You know what I mean?
You got it.
Samuel Main for a $3 super sticker. It's the bean doing a big thumbs up right there. Thank you very much,
happy
Samuel
bean.
Main.
Thank you, Sam.
Rad Jedi member for 6. This isn't canon in my book. Filoni and KK need to go. Dang it, Bob.
Dang it.
Couldn't agree more. Toddzilla for $5. There will always be pre-2012 Star Wars, just like there will be pre-J.J. Abrams Trek. Star Trek. Also, shame on all those who thought Filoni was the savior. You just have to. They were trading on hope.
Yeah. Can I admit I used to love Dave Filoni because I loved Rebels. I loved Clone Wars. I thought he was the guy.
Dude.
I thought he was the guy. And man, oh man.
Where do you stand with him now, Marvin? What do you think about Filoni now?
Oh God, he's a wolf in sheep's clothing. He's the destroyer. Not even the destroyer. He is the Ebony Maw from Infinity War. With the hear me and rejoice. You are about to be graced by the great Leslie Headland.
You know what's crazy too? I think it's less Dave and it's his wife's voice that we're seeing.
Oh, he's pulling a Bill Burr.
That's consistent right there because I don't think Dave Filoni actually has a voice.
Correct.
Space Age 2000 for $2 Canadian. Why, oh, why did Disney buy Star Wars, Marvel, and Doctor Who?
Well, it's going so well for all of them.
Doctor Who's is a license, and they're inflicting their will upon it right now. But Star Wars and Marvel, like they have the biggest boy brands on the planet, and they buy them because they need boy brands. And instead, they make them play like a mom makes two boys who are misbehaving play together.
And they do it intentionally. Kathleen Kennedy was very intentional about that.
Yep. Thank you again to William Thompson for this one. Big Blue Horses member for 4. It's gender studies class dressed as Star Wars. Absolutely.
Mixed with witchcraft, sure.
Yep. Suspense Smith for 2. Finally here. Too late for the Sith show. They don't say the word Sith in all of this.
No Sith here.
Not
Yep.
yet.
Well, that is. So I've seen people say in the chat that the Jedi Padawan white guilt. No, Jedi Padawan white guilt has a scar at the end of this episode when he doesn't have it in the beginning. So obviously there's probably some kind of lightsaber duel or something, or maybe he got slashed by the thread.
Hold on. You mean we have to watch another flashback episode?
Oh, there's definitely more.
Oh,
there's possibly the Sith guy who's saved May, maybe massacred them. So that is another like.
You know that's what happened. One of the Jedi tried to stop the Sith as he slaughtered the witches. Yada yada.
Okay.
We're
gonna have to watch White Guilt Man kill all the witches.
What is more likely
by them?
What is more likely, by the way, the fact that the Sith is their mother, or the fact that the Sith is Asian Ezra Miller?
It's Ezra Miller. It's Asian Ezra. 100%.
It very well might be.
It's him. Do you remember?
Oh, Manny Jacinto. Sorry, I was not following there. I don't think.
Do you remember that little scene when first off he looks at her and goes, "You look just like her," and then when he goes outside and they have a little martial arts moment, and he absolutely just immediately dominates her and throws her on the wall. You telling me some weird little merchant from nowhere is all of a sudden freaking Jet Li?
No. And it would make at first I didn't think so because he does a thing where he's like, oh, he'll be so pleased, but then there's that line that Jedi Master Squid Games has where he says, oh, you don't even know who it is.
Yeah.
So hold up for a second, guys, because you've made me think of something now. If we're going to have a flashback episode where, remember folks, there have been a grand total of 2 white dudes in this show, and I don't give a rip about that, except that I know they're doing it on purpose. One of the white dudes was a crazy convict. The other white dude is White Guilt Dalsim. And if we're going to have a flashback episode, if we have to do another freaking flashback episode where we watch guilt-ridden White Guilt Dalsim kill all the witches, it brings to mind this, and Jonas, hide that super chat just for a moment so we can play this. But it brings to mind this interview. No, this is not about the Acolyte, but I think it speaks to why Leslie Headland might have wanted Amandla Stenberg to play the role. Take a listen.
What do you want them to walk away with? Because I know everyone has a slightly different feeling.
Well, I mean, white people crying actually was the goal.
So just a reminder, this is the way that these people think. So if we have a flashback episode where White Guilt Man killed all the witches, it's not going to be a shock to me.
I remember receiving.
That would be great, though. Like he's a hero then.
I got messages from people saying, "Hey, don't use this clip. It's from a long time ago. Don't use this clip. It's from a long time ago." And I kept saying to them, "It doesn't matter if it's from a long time ago. Why was it said ever?
Right?
Period.
Why would you ever want to make a single demographic cry?
Yeah.
Right. It's a stereotyping of an entire group. It's monolithing them. It's suggesting that all people of a certain ginormous, diverse background should be made to feel guilty and cry about something. When,
Can you imagine,
doesn't
like,
matter if you're
Cameron Diaz
Italian,
saying
doesn't
that?
matter if you're Californian, doesn't matter if you're from Switzerland. It doesn't matter.
Cameron Diaz is like, I just wanted to make black people cry. They'd be like,
She's also talking about
it was years ago.
She's also talking about a movie that's trying to push anti-police rhetoric. Like that was the whole point, is to manipulate
That
people
went well over the last few years.
into buying it, into like basically defunding the police. That was the whole point of that movie that she's talking about.
Well.
Which movie was that?
That's work.
The Hate You Give.
The Hate You Give.
Oh,
pre-Disney Fox, yeah. Butterbiscuit 92 for 5. I stopped caring about Star Wars when Carano got axed. Been in full apathy mode ever since. There's no fixing it, just having fun watching it light and burn, much like a coven of witches on the planet Brendok.
Speaking of burn, how much do you think it burns them that they've tried with all of these strong female characters and the only one that people actually liked was Cara Dune?
Isn't that ironic?
Don't you
I
think?
think that's why she was fired.
Yep. John Maynard for 5. The information in Kathleen's contract may be more tied to what Leslie has on Bob Iger and the other C-suite members.
Yes,
he's well connected. That Bob Iger, and
I'll tell you this: there was I'll make an additional comment. There was somebody at the top of Disney back when that kind of stuff was going on. Not Iger, but there was somebody who disappeared for a few days. And we'll leave it at that. And then I'll leave it there. Folks, if you want to follow those breadcrumbs, you figure it out.
Hawaii Dragonstar became a YouTube member at the potential level. Welcome aboard, Hawaii Dragonstar.
Happy to have you.
Yep. Official Dregs or official D-Regs for 10. I'm currently working on an IP for my gaming company, Digital Interactive Entertainment, called Project Omega. It's a mecha inspired by G Gundam, Zoids, Transformers, and Titanfall with a 40K in-depth lore.
That
sounds awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
That sounds
very
excited.
Cool. Very excited, and wish you the greatest of luck. Folks, we've got to get out there and start creating stuff. We'll share with you those 3 of the 60 debut songs coming out on Vacation Radio this Thursday at 7 p.m. But all of us, we have to start creating, because these people are going to destroy everything we love, and we have to make our own stuff. Flat out, they are destructionists, they are deconstructionists, and they will take down anything and everything they can get their hands on.
Yep,
that's the advice that C.S. Lewis gave to J.R.R. Tolkien. We don't like what they're making, we're going to make our own. And what did they do? They made some of the best stories ever.
I'm already on it, man. I've already got a whole book written. We've got a publisher. The script's being written as we're speaking. Screw Star Wars.
That's wonderful.
Are you going to rip ascend it?
What's that?
Are you going to rip ascend it?
We may rip ascend it. We'll see.
Andrew
Jonas,
McKinnon.
I'm not sure he was ready to announce that.
I'm
easy
sorry.
there. Easy there.
That was
We
exciting.
don't know. We don't know.
Andrew McKinnon for 2,000 clips. That's Chilean pesos. This is actually the prequel for Spaceballs.
Oh, God.
Oh, that's perfect. Hawaii Dragonstar for 5. Back with a new radio station. You need to have radio plays. Have radio plays and readings. Ooh,
That's a cool idea.
I like that.
Pro got really quiet there.
Yeah.
I know a good narrator.
Yep. Is it Lauren? It's Lauren. Talon Maids 40K for $10. This was the lesbian witch interpretation of the Force. It was their understanding of it. We don't have to accept their explanation as the definitive explanation of the Force. Oh, yeah, that goes without saying. Any more than I would accept Karl Marx's opinion on how resources should be allocated.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's how I would answer the question that we got earlier that was posed to Lauren about retconning it. And I kind of already given how I would kind of do it. The Jedi see it as a heresy because these people are clearly, and they even to say that what they're doing is unnatural. And so the Jedi are there to keep the Force in balance and execute the heretics.
Yeah, I thought somebody tried to make that comparison to me, like, oh no, it's just kind of the way that like so many different people have an idea of what religion is or where the creation of the world came from. I was like, no, that's not what they're doing.
Yep. Tennille 89 for $10. I reject the premise that KK is immune from consequences. All the previous transgressions that she weathered occurred when Disney was riding high. They're not anymore. New circumstances compel change. Let's hope. But she is spending, she spent $350 million or something like that, making, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and I get that
she's still around after Indy.
Yeah, yep, she's still going, and supposedly her contract is up in October. If you follow the cycle here, I'm not saying she's being fired. I'm saying that is.
I remember doing this last year.
Exactly.
When is she gonna go?
Frog Streak Studios for $4.99. Congrats on launching the Vacation Radio Channel Pro from one aspiring original content channel to another. Wishing you lots of success.
Well, thank you so much. We are looking forward, folks, to delivering excellent content. And I can tell you that radio is only the beginning. We wanted to give you something that's totally free. And in 2 days, we're going to deliver it to you 24/7. Excellent music. We'll debut 3 songs at the end of the show today. And you be the decider whether or not we actually have the quality that deserves you showing up for Vacation Radio.
And also,
a brand new YouTube channel, 24/7 music, every single lyric written by me, music composed and made. And folks, guess what? We've got musicians, we've got all kinds of stuff. By the way, Jonas, I don't think you know this. We are working right now on getting one of our collaborators to provide a song or two that you know him from Slack. He designs guitars, so that may now be a thing that's happening.
That's going to be fun.
Let's go. That's awesome, dude.
I can't wait for you to hear some of the music.
I also want to point out that this is Frog Streak Studios' first super chat, so thank you very much for gracing us with that. Tennille89 for 5. For all the claims of KK being invincible, I disagree. Even if that were so, the planet she's standing on isn't. You know, I think when it comes down to it, it's the value of the Star Wars IP that both keeps her in place and keeps Disney from doing anything significant over there.
She has Iger nudes. That's the only thing that's happening right now. She has Iger nudes. That's it.
Oh, all right. Noah Gooder for $2. The Jedi look like Count Olaf from a book series. From the book.
Lemony Snicket.
Oh, yeah, he did. I for just a second I was thinking Olaf from Frozen.
Frozen?
Yeah. Count Olaf, like the Jim Carrey series of unfortunate events. Yes, I see it now. Louis Messina for $2. Thanks for taking the bullet. Keep the good vibe.
I also think this. I don't know if Pro wanted to discuss this, but what he's got on the screen here, this is also like it completely contradicts what we hear from Palpatine in Revenge of the Sith. Palpatine obviously implies that he was the one who was kind of like manipulating the Force, but I always felt like he was lying there because clearly we know that they don't really create anything.
Well, Disney has kind of pushed the idea that Palpatine or Darth Plagueis were the ones that created Anakin. I liked the version in the Darth Plagueis novel where it kind of insinuates that Palpatine and Plagueis like attacked the Force, like did some kind of thing to like
and the Force rebelled.
Yeah, to like limit the Jedi perception, which is why they can't really feel the Force anymore. And the Force strikes back by creating the Chosen One.
Yeah,
that's
what I mean. This is basically
exactly how
the attempt to create the anti-C. And then the Force is like, oh man, we got to make C, and that's what happens.
Yep. Exactly, because the whole like yin yang stuff is not actually how George sees it. It's these people are corruption and they need to be purged.
Yeah.
What a line that is. I created them. Yikes. By the way, I need to push this one up here. Nick Allen in for 50. Sorry, but they took me from apathy to angry again. They effuse children with this nonsense in the guise of Star Wars. But I grew up with a heroic tale. Some aspiration that was there that was more out there. Some aspiration that I too could be better. Sorry, I'm going to say that again. Some aspiration that there was more out there. Some aspiration that I too could be better. Yeah, there's none of that in this. There maybe actually is a little hint that this little girl wants to be a Jedi, but they give no reasons why she wants to be a Jedi other than she just wants.
She literally doesn't even know
the witch coven.
That whole didn't even make any sense because she's literally like supposed to not even leave the Hoover Dam, and so how does she even know anything about the Jedi? Like they clearly don't even talk about the Jedi, but then they like have all these conversations about the Jedi and how she wants to be a Jedi, and like he's showing them a lightsaber, and she's supposed to know what that is. It's all.
How do
like,
you know what a
doesn't make any
lightsaber
sense
is?
whatsoever?
Well, yeah,
exactly.
She's enamored by the objects of a certain shape on all their belts and wants one.
Easy, lad.
and all the witches are
safe as I could.
All the witches are, of course, folks. This I hope soon we get a screen cap of the writhing ritual. But right now, this is what we've got of the witches looking up to the Slay Queen witch, who she's the leader.
By the way, this is the best. As far as the cinematography goes, this is the best shot in the entire episode. I think they probably got this one first and then worked back from there. Everything else is just mediocre pedestrian CW level cinematography.
I'm just so glad that we finally have a strong female leader in Star Wars. Remember at Star Wars Celebration when she was like, the thing I like about my character is she's a very strong leader, and there are no female leaders in Star Wars. It's very patriarchal. Yes.
Legitimate question.
God.
Was this from the last episode or Black Panther 3? Which one?
No, there's a little white lady right there.
Look at who's bowing to her. Just take a look.
Looks like the Assassin's Creed Shadows gameplay trailer.
There you go.
All right. Official D-Regs for 5. The main goal is to give Gina and Henry consistent roles and executive producers to combat the woke nightmare. I'm assuming this is Gina Carano and Henry Cavill. Poor Henry Cavill.
He's talking about his Gundam IP.
Oh, I see what you're saying here. That would be amazing.
That could be cool. That. I could see that as a breakout. I mean, Gundam was huge when I was a kid. Gundam was massive.
Didn't they date for a little bit, by the way? Anyway,
did they?
Maybe.
Oh,
Yes,
poor Jay.
Suspense Smith for 2. At least Holiday gave us Boba. That's right.
They did. That was the thing.
Didn't have Boba Tea before it. Now we do.
And the entire cast
Boba,
came back to do voices.
If Pro goes back to the I carried them, I created them, do you think that is like trying to play off of the I love you, I know from Empire?
That's a reach, and I hate that it might be part of it. It might be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they make it clear it's a romantic relationship very early on.
I created them. I know.
Irate Specialist member for 12. The panel shows the power of one, the power of many. Thank you very much, Irate. Alpha Omega for 5. Years ago, I moved on to Asian cinema and never looked back, but Hollywood is trying to take that over now. Rat's looking to buy anime studios now.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
I told you
the virus is moving.
The last time Bob Iger saved Disney, it was by buying another studio, and he can't do that move again because there's no other studio that's doing anything right now that's worth buying.
They are so threatened by Japan because Japanese culture is about family, it's about hard work, and it's about respect, and that are things that these people find abhorrent.
Yeah.
Well
Agreed.
said. All right, Red Jedi for 10. I refuse to recognize it as canon. Toss KK and Filoni into the Sarlacc, where they will be slowly digested over 1,000 years.
Sarlacc is spelled with 2 C's. Come on, Rad.
The irony of that is, I've always thought the Sarlacc was weird because it means that the acid in its stomach is actually less acidic than bath water.
Truly. You would be better off actually getting in like distilled water.
I thought
decompose.
Didn't they make it in the books to where the Sarlacc both keeps you alive and it keeps you producing some kind of fluid so that you
eats off of your pain and suffering for thousands of years.
Yeah. Much like YouTube is kind of a Sarlacc pit for KK and Filoni here. Riot Noob for 10. The only way for Disney to retcon at this point is to do a short movie. Called Splinter of the Mind's Eye.
Stay away.
Nope.
Okay. Ted Park for 20 Canadian dollars. The survey is unfair. The Acolyte is freshly delivered by the dog of Disney, steaming and so fresh that flies won't even land on it. And maybe they could use that at Lookout K. It would have been fairer to wait a while for the stink to wear off a bit.
I'm going to do the Captain America. I got that reference.
We're going to be talking about that on That Park Place very soon. Oh, my. Kyla S. for £2. Need a 2 to 3 season adaptation of the Darth Plagueis, please.
I don't need that. I don't need them to ever touch that. I do not touch Bane. Don't touch Revan. Don't touch Plagueis. Leave my Sith alone.
Does anybody remember when they ate a human heart? in Plagueis. Do you think Disney's going to get anywhere near that? They literally
Never.
had a sacrificial population of a planet. Never going to happen.
They would eat Jedi Mountain oysters in a heartbeat.
What? It was such a cool concept, though. It was such a cool
I
concept.
think I broke X-Wing.
Good, yeah.
By the way, I got an update from Mac, who is perfect on all of this stuff. If it pulls in Doctor Who numbers, that means it won't chart at all.
Yep.
If
Because
it
Doctor Who has
pulls
not
in this
charted.
thing. Exactly. Tennille89 for 5. At John, I believe the force power you're referring to is what's called a rampaging plot device.
Mm.
Alrighty. Hawaii Dragon Star, member for 7. Your survey should have been, which is the best?
Oh, in terms of holiday special, Last Jedi or Acolyte. Well, that's hard to put best with any of those, but maybe we'll rerun it in a little bit and see what
What was the middle option? Holiday special.
Acolyte,
Last Jedi.
episode 3, Last Jedi.
Last Jedi and oh.
Maybe I throw in Rise of Palpatine in a moment and see what comes out.
Oh man, see, holiday special. I don't know that anything is going to be worse than the holiday special, but I
the
don't know.
holiday
Rise of-
special is so bad it's good. The other ones are insulting. Like
That's
I can
kinda
find
where I'm at.
enjoyment out of laughing at the holiday special. That
There's at least some heart in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's at least a moral, a lesson. Like
Right.
There's, there's
watched
an
VR.
awful lot of cocaine in there.
There's a celebration of life day in there.
There might be in this one as well, Lauren.
Cyrano 2960 for 5. I dread the changes they will make to Galaxy's Edge if this is canon. The lip sync show will be horrendous. Oh, wow. If they actually put this stuff in the parks.
Oh, I hope
That's
so.
what I was trying to tell you, is that they're going to be doing this chant with ladies in robes in Galaxy's Edge within the next 2 years.
If they do, I'm
Easily.
calling the police.
I want them to put characters from this show walking around Batu, and I can't wait to see nobody approach them.
Yeah.
Or know what they are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Imagine buying your kid a toy from this show, because there are toys for this show.
They're like, oh my God, they brought Hogwarts into Galaxy's Edge. That's cool.
what are the Wakanda people? Why is the Wakanda lady in here? Bosman for 5. It sounds like a ripped off Wheel of Time with the threads concept. Yeah, I think you're
Or
right.
Loki.
That's true. There's a lot of threads. What is it with the weaving and the tapestries lately? Red Jedi for 20.
Hey, lonely old ladies love a Spence's story. That's all that's going on here.
It's also one of the easiest, hackiest cliches to go to, and bad writers lean on that.
Fair enough. Red Jedi for 20. Thanks for watching for us. Disney Star Wars is garbage. Is not canon. George must be really proud about supporting Bob.
You know, the interesting thing is that next week, I'm told that we're just going to be bored. Like next week is
This
just
was boring too.
This one was, despite the fact that there might have been mass murder and explosions in this one, it was somehow less exciting. It
was mass murder off screen there.
Well,
It was all off screen. Yeah, there was no action sequence whatsoever.
But apparently next week we get pronouns.
Woohoo!
I was promised pronouns in this episode, and I was not given
No,
them.
that's
I am
episode
upset.
4. That's episode 4 is where the pronouns show up, I've heard.
And apparently we'll get another flashback where White Guilt will destroy all of the witches. That will be John's favorite episode.
Good.
Suspense Smith for 5.
Wait, is
The
that
dog
actual? Is
turned
that
to
an
his own-
actual rumor, or is that just me?
I think we've.
trying to-
I think that's the rumor we've come up with here on the show today. I don't know. I'm hearing there's another flashback. Who knows? Maybe.
Suspense Smith is going biblical with this one. For 5, the dog is turned to its own vomit again, and the sow that is washed to her wallowing in the mire. That's right.
Prodigal,
he
this
did
is
get
not.
possessed. He did get possessed by the mother. Like his eyes like turned black and stuff.
Oh, that's a
Hey,
really
that's a
good
great
point.
point. Yeah, maybe it's not even his fault that he. Oh, that's going to make him less of a hero to you, John. I'm sorry.
Well, it's more about
No,
power.
it
and
makes
who
him even
wields
more of a hero because he
overcame
saw
it.
how evil it was and he overcame it and was like, I'm not going to let this spread to the rest of the galaxy. What these people are doing is wrong.
By the way, when you're evil in Star
I
Wars,
took the
apparently your
vow.
eyes turn black. That's it.
Yeah, I took the vow.
Alpha Omega member for 3. The U.S. government pushing media censorship on Korea and Japan. If we're talking about localizations, absolutely. The Gramcast for 5. I wish I grew up in a coven of screeching lesbos and was born via immaculate conception. Those witches were all groomers.
There are no children here.
Did you catch how the Jedi were talking to the kids? Like, don't listen to your parents. Listen to us. Tell us things.
We need to stab you and take your blood.
It's just like TikTok.
What if I offer you a lightsaber toy?
That's all they did. I wish the Jedi had pulled up in a van. If the Jedi had pulled up in a van, it would have made the episode.
They're like, you want this gun? Look at the gun. Hold the gun. You like that thing?
When he hands her the deadly weapon, like, please tell me there's a safety on that, or at least
the best part was when she points it at his head. I'm like, this is happening. This is gonna happen.
Oh my! Hawaii Dragon Star for 5. They didn't steal threads from Wheel. They stole Strand from Destiny 2. Strand connects everything and minds physically in the universe. Yeah, and it's supposed to be the connection between people as opposed to the connection between all living things. This is where it gets very strange, and I think they're going to that forced dyad thing.
Were they trying to do like
I said it from Jump Street? Those two twins are a freaking dyad in the Force.
Yep,
they're made from the lesbian Force, and then she's the Dathomiri. I'm sorry, the Zabrak births them, and they are a dyad of the Force, a living embodiment of the light in the dark. That's where this is going.
Absolutely, and I think they are trying to simultaneously make them a dyad and the chosen one.
Wait a minute. Hold on. If that's true, Lauren's going to remember that I talked about this. Lauren, we got to go way back to a rumor that I heard, and we did a video on it, and you were in the video with me on it. You know where I'm going with this, that Dave Filoni was a huge fan of what's the cartoon on Netflix about League of Legends? What is that?
Arcane.
That he loves Arcane. If that's what they're doing, then we're getting that freaking Arcane thing where you've got good sister, bad sister thing. And one is the embodiment of goodness, and the other is the embodiment of chaos. That's where, my gosh, I can't believe you guys are right.
But just wait, it's going to be
that what Lauren has kind of talked about with the Mortis stuff too, right?
I was going to ask Lauren about that. Like, how can Filoni sign off on this when he created the Mortis gods? Like, we've seen the Father, the Son, and the Daughter, and they've referenced the Force as the Force. Like, I don't know, Lauren. What do you think about that?
Ooh.
Well,
let's go, Lauren. Let's talk about it.
It's not just Filoni there. George was involved with creating Mortis.
Of course,
but this goes right back again to George saying nobody understood the Force but him. My belief is that they were going to take this back to the beginning and show that the original Force practitioner was the first mother of one of these covens. And that when the Jedi discovered her, that they strip her of her power and imprison her, and she's imprisoned on Peridia. I think that's what they're leading to in Ahsoka. At the end of that series, you saw Baylan Skull approaching something that he said was a power that was more awesome than you could possibly imagine that the Jedi had hidden.
It's a lady.
And it's on the
It's a lady.
And he's standing on the outstretched hand of a statue of the Father. So I think
that's pointing to the temple or whatever the flashing light is.
Yeah, I think the seeds that they're trying to lay is they're wanting to bookend all of Star Wars from the very, very beginning to the very, very end so that they can get their threads through all of it and, in fact, every last bit of it and say, see, we bookended the series. It all fits together. I think that's what their goal is. That's why this is such a poisonous idea.
See, they fixed it. SFX Sabretooth the Raptor for 2, Lauren Flyan E-Wing, and Smurf Disney Star Wars, your only hope.
Hey, now real quick, Jonas, can you scan the Super Chats and see if there are Super Chats for Lauren? Lauren's going to have to bow out in a minute, and we want to make sure that any Super Chats that are directed to Lauren be on screen with him.
Yeah,
so
give me just a second.
And while Jonas is doing that, Lauren, I want to hand it to you since you got to go here in just a few. Lauren, based on everything you've heard, where is the Acolyte going for the remainder of this series? What do you think they've got cooked up in the head of Leslie Headland?
I have no idea. I mean, this sounds like such
I've never heard you say
mess.
this before, Lauren.
This sounds like such a confusing mess. I have no idea where it could possibly be going. I'm not sure I'm even following the thread that you guys are laying out. It sounds like it's just a bunch of nonsense that's designed to piss people off. I think that's the entire point, is that they're wanting to rub our nose in it. See, we own this and you don't. When I was a kid, I had a friend whose parents spoiled him. He had every toy that he could ever possibly want. But when he came over to visit, if there was a toy that I had that he didn't have, it would always end up mysteriously broken every time that he showed up.
Lauren,
That's
was
what
your
this
friend's
is.
name JJ by any chance?
No, but
Okay, just check.
that is the mentality of these people. You know, they now have control of it. They want to rub your nose in that and say, now we own it. It's what we want. That's why it's so offensive when they say, oh, this is canon now. It's like, no, you bought a copy of the Bible and now you're writing on it in crayon. Not to be blasphemous, but that doesn't, that's kind of what they're doing here. They took something that people liked, that they loved, that had a cohesive story that was written, but that had one visionary that created this. There were lots of helpers in bringing that to the screen, but ultimately it was under the control of one guy. And now they've got their hands on it and they're perfectly happy to move beyond it. Well, you can't. It was an expression of one man's vision, and it's always going to be that way. That's why I think you can't use the title canon for the stuff they're putting out, because you didn't create it. You didn't write it. It's not your vision. You're just playing in somebody else's sandbox.
Every time this man opens his mouth, I swear I love it so much. He speaketh truth.
All right, so I'll say this: there's nothing specifically for Lauren, except for the fact that obviously there's questions about Star Wars and things throughout. So,
well, Lauren, we hate to see you go, but you've been here for a while now. We've been going for 2 hours, folks. We're still going to keep going because we got more to say about this. Lauren, thanks for being here, and Lauren, I hope you can make it back for the next after party, which I think we can't go any more into, recanonizing Star Wars territory than this, surely. So we'll do pronouns next week. So I'm sure we'll be.
Surely next week's episode has to be better than this, though.
Well, I mean, there's no way to do this.
Every time we keep saying they can't possibly go any lower, they find a way. Stop daring them.
Well, let's put it this way, Lauren. They didn't let the media get eyeballs on the last half of this show. There's a reason they didn't let the media get their eyeballs on the last half of this show, I think. We'll see. Lauren, you take care, and we'll see you real soon.
You bet. Have as much fun as you guys can while discussing this train wreck. Good luck.
That's right.
All right. Elizabeth Young for $4.99. Spock's brain is a masterpiece compared to episode 3 of The Acolyte. I completely agree. And I've watched Spock's brain recently. Yeah, it's actually fun. Ezekiel Crow for $5 off subject makes me very concerned about the Daredevil series. Is Disney a place where franchises die? Here's the thing about that Daredevil series. They did a page 1 rewrite on that entire thing after Bob Iger came back. And it's back to the original Daredevil series creators from Netflix. Whether or not it's actually allowed to be good.
No, that's not true. It's not the original guys from Netflix. No. They brought in 2 people. It's the guys from Moon Knight.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. Yeah. Disney is a place where franchises die, though. I will.
They're just going back. We're just following the canon of the original Netflix series, or at least that's what they've been telling us. But it's
by the way, if Lauren is out there still watching, Lauren, I couldn't pull this up in time for you to get commentary. This is the first screen cap that I'm seeing coming out of the Night Witch, not Night Witch, but their witches ritual, the ORGY Force Thread baby making ascension making fun time. So
yeah, like did this make any? Because I'm the same as this poster here. Like I laughed when I watched this, and I laughed when I heard the lyrics because I was like, oh wow, this isn't just background music. They're actually singing.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope they release it on iTunes tomorrow. Don't you?
I want this so bad for like my intros to my streams, everything. One, the power of 2. You're like, what?
I think I'm going to tell Mrs. Movie Monster that this needs to be the first dance at our wedding.
Could you imagine if that was at the Jedi Temple? They're like, welcome, children. The power of many. We'd be like, what the fudge is this? This is a cult. This is so weird. What are we doing? Pull your threads. Sponsored by Tampax.
You have to be strong in the.
That's why the Jedi should have gone in and just started lightsaber them.
Look, in order to use this magic, you have to be strong in the Force and be able to harmonize.
And then the laugh. The Wicked Witch of the East laugh.
Oh my God, that laugh.
I was like,
That
is
was
that
just
a
one
salacious
person, too.
crumb?
That was totally part of the ritual, though. That was like
I thought it
literally
was
like
I thought it was a salacious cameo.
I thought it was some kind of animal at first, and then but I had the captions on it. It's like witch laughs, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's one of them."
It was. It literally said witch laughs in background. Okay, I have to go, guys. I'm sorry. I got my daughter needs a bath.
Hold on a second, X-Wing.
I gotta
Hold
give
on,
her one.
X-Wing. She'll survive for 20 seconds. Score of 0 to 10. What do you give this episode?
So I'm gonna get in trouble with my friends here.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna give it a 2. And there's a reason I'm gonna give it a 2. Is because I still feel like the folks that built the sets and whoever did the music for the show did a decent job. I really don't feel like they deserve to be lambasted for everything that's going on. The set design is not bad at all. And I don't think the music is bad either. If you go back and you listen through the soundtrack until we get to the one of many, the music has actually been pretty good for the show. If you listen,
take away the sets and the music. What do you give it?
0.
Okay.
Are you kidding me? I said it on my live stream 16 times. They got the hard shell of the taco with the set. They put a little sour cream in the bottom with the music, and then they just filled it with poop. They just stuck a turd right in the middle of the taco shell, and they're like, "Here you go."
Oh, that's perfect.
Well, speaking of poop, you've got to go make sure that the kiddo is clean. So
Yes.
X-Wing, it's been a great time. Hope you can stop by again next week. It is it's not quite a party without you, sir.
I don't think I want to talk about the show anymore.
Well, in
we'll
that
see.
case, a
We'll see when we get
PTSD
there.
session. That's right.
Yeah.
People
All right.
demand it.
Everybody
All
have
right.
a good night. Thank you so much. Love you.
Later,
Thanks
X-Wing.
for being here.
Good
X-Wing.
meeting you.
All right, I had to check. Dario Scartapane had worked on The Punisher and on Moon Knight. So he worked on the Netflix universe, but not on Daredevil specifically.
There you go.
So, all right. Suspense Smith for $2. Leslie's old boss versus Mulan's shooting location.
he's the writer, though. Right?
No, I think that's the new showrunner. Yeah.
Oh, he's the
I'll send you the link and we can. As long as we start with me being somewhat correct here, I'll send you the link later. Isidro SYD Colonia for $5. Soon they will introduce a Wookiee with rainbow fur and they/them pronouns. We still haven't got confirmation on if Kelnaka is a boy or a girl or other.
That's where the pronouns are coming in next week. I'm calling it. It's the Wookiee is going to be they/them.
Oh no, not Anorex Baka. Are you telling me Anorex Baka is a they/them?
I would put money on it.
I'm actually surprised that they said speaks in Shirawook instead of putting the Wookiee roars.
I was shocked by that too. Like I thought it was going to be like gargles or whatever.
Yeah. Ruby Hoove for $5. Can we give anxiety to the witches? They could be happy together and leave us alone.
You know how painful this week is? I have to go review Inside Out 2 Thursday.
I'm hearing
I got to do it too.
The question I have is, are these shills, are these people just shills that are saying it's great? We've heard the first 30 minutes of the film is actually good from people that I trust. I don't know if Alan Ing is going to have an early review of Inside Out 2. So,
Embargo ends tomorrow at
tomorrow at like 3 p.m. Eastern. So, yeah, I finally saw somebody's actual embargo card. So,
okay, so let's say this then very quickly. If they held the embargo until the day before in the afternoon, that's not a great sign.
No,
that's a very good point. Ruby Hoof for $5. Can we get? Oh wait. We already read that. Feyoda, member for 10. This is CW Star Wars. Yes, it is.
I don't know. I think that's insulting to CW.
Worse. It's worse. It's way worse.
The Witches season of Smallville was better than this.
The CW actually had decent stuff until they went super woke. Like the early seasons of The Flash, Smallville. There's some stuff that's actually decent.
Guys, you know what would have made the whole thing work for me, and I would have ended up loving this if at the end when they're bringing her out and she wakes up and she's like, "What happened?" If they just had Binks from Hocus Pocus pop up and go, "The witches are dead."
So
and the Jedi killed them.
I think this is like Lifetime Real Women Star Wars. Like you've got to really dig deep into the cable channels to find something this bad.
Agreed. Sutton Creek Productions for $2. Let the apathy flow through you. It really does.
What's there?
I'm not excited for the next week at this point. I don't even want to find out, but We're in for the long haul. Pam has thoughts for $5. So if the Force is threads, how does it flow? Giant needles? Needles would explain a lot. It would also explain why the Jedi aren't so crazy about them raising children. Go and Shogi for $1.99.
They didn't mention that. They don't mention anything about flow. It's not a power you wield. You pull the thread, change everything, changes destiny, and then binds to others. That's like what she's kind of said.
Yeah, I'll also point out there's some things about female growing up in here. They don't actually make it. I mean, if there were some comments that said it's kind of an allegory for things that they talk about in like Baymax and turning red and feminine growing up things, and I don't know. It's not stated in any way that I would say that for sure here, but yes, there is a young woman scared of going into a next stage of life kind of thing. So, all right. Go and Shogi for $1.99. With enough users, can you knit a Force sweater?
There are certain things you can knit with it, but you don't want to know about them.
These are women of today. Yeah. Gramcast member for $5. May tried to burn it down. No black guilt there. She's very mixed.
May tried to kill her own sister, but May apparently is deeply scarred because while she was trying to kill her own sister, the Jedi were busy killing all of her fam. So it's really complicated.
I'll also point out that she wasn't upset that her sister said she will kill her. She was upset that her sister took her notebook.
Yeah, and did you notice how, like, when they meet up again, like, while the place is burning, there's no, like, you tried to kill me? It's just like, oh, what happened?
What did you do? What did you do?
Was that May's notebook? That was May's notebook?
Yeah, May was sketching in it when they were getting ready for the ceremony.
What was this, Drew?
I don't know, actually. It just seemed like it was a useless prop that they were putting in her hand because she's the creative one.
Watch, it'll end up being one of those books that Luke Skywalker has in that tree.
I'm sure it has meaning. I just don't care enough to watch the thing again to go find out what it is.
It's also a triangular book, so it's not a codex in the traditional sense there. Thomas Preston, member for $5. How come Chung Li was not in this? I don't know.
Chun Li would have been cool.
Yeah,
that would have been amazing.
They had Hadoukens.
They did.
They
They
did.
did. Al Davis, member for 10. I need an infographic for the alt character names. I promise we would never do a glossary.
We might have to. Good twin, bad twin, discount Qui-Gon. We've got white guilt Dalsim, Trinity. Everybody knows who Trinity is. Now we've got I can't think of it. Anna Rex Baca. That's the new skinny Chewbacca. So that's pretty much all you need to know.
I in my review, I went with Mary Kate and Ashley for the twins.
Oh, that's good. That's good too.
Mary Kate being the evil one because Heath Ledger. And I went with Jedi Master Squid Games, Padawan Chitara, Jedi Knight Superfan. All the great ones.
I mean, the names are not worth paying attention to. I mean, even the planets are so boring that they're not worth paying attention to.
Well,
they're terrible names.
How can we forget Jedi Master Leslie Headland's wife?
I don't think we can, of course. I don't think
Bless
we can.
her heart. Her performance is to the point where I don't even know that she's an actress. I think they might have just said, let's put you in the show so you get royalties forever.
And she was like, I'm not wearing any of that alien prosthetic. And they're like, that's no problem. We'll just paint you green at this point.
We have a very dull green paint that we're going to put you in.
We'll make you look like a shaved Grinch.
Suspense Smith for 5. Disney had boy brands, Pirates, Tron, Narnia, Aladdin, Sword in the Stone, Black Cauldron. They buy, squander, buy, squander. Yes.
I don't think that was May's book because she burns the book and the book has the Jedi symbol in it.
It does.
I think it's Good Twins book.
Yeah, it's Good Twins book.
Oh, sorry. I forget the names here. When I say May, I'm assuming, OSHA. Sorry. It's OSHA's book. Yes.
Yeah, it's the federal agency acronym, Good Twin.
Man, that's so weird. But anyways, let's respond to what Suspense Smith has said here.
Oh, it's the squandering. Star Wars, a squander story.
Well, I don't know. Did you guys see I think Jonas did, Alan's post about Tron? It's going to be garbage.
Yeah, non-binary in a computer world. I tweeted I wasn't sure if he was joking or not, and he didn't respond.
He didn't respond
in any way that was helpful. He did like the tweet, so he did see it, and I talked to him about something else separately. So yeah, I don't know. This is
Jonas,
the problem
why don't
with
you,
having an impromptu comedian as a friend.
Call him and ask him if he wants to go have breakfast at Shoney's, and then after you get through that, be like, oh, and by the way, he'll never know the real reason you called was not breakfast at Shoney's.
I already need to know if Inside Out 2 is garbage or not. All right, so this is 2 super chats together here. Jordan Gallant for 20 Canadian dollars. I'm going to read them both together and then let's respond. So, guys, this is as unbiased as possible. Huge Star Wars fan, but was it all that horrid? So the Force is a thread. Weird dancing should have been removed, but really search your feelings. Best episodes so far, and for 10 additional. But this was not The Last Jedi 2.0. Of course, it's not clear how the witches die. I hate the press tour, by the way, but I'm curious where the story will go.
So let's take this a couple ways. First of all, just from the merit of the story, and I appreciate the super chat because it makes us really think on a deeper scale, because we've mostly been mocking this because it's so bad. But if we actually take it seriously for a moment, strip out the witches, strip out the narrative. Let's just take this from what happens. And in terms of what happens here, we get major retcons of the mythos of the franchise. We get a reversal of who's good and who's bad. But in terms of like action, there's no action. And the action that does happen happens off screen, and therefore there is no action. Whenever you have the main event that creates the main driving narrative of the story take place off screen in about 6 seconds, then you have squeezed into an off screen moment everything that should have been on screen. Exactly. The fulcrum happens in 6 seconds off screen. That is pathetic. And if we have to go back to it again in another flashback, then that's just filler. So we have to spend more time with white guilt.
Right. If it's going to be revealed later that something happened there, they should have just had the explosion and then cut to her in the medical bay.
Well, they're going to have to.
You guys are forgetting the action sequences where the two sisters are like, "No, you stop, you stop," and they like slap each other.
The worst part of that is, they were told you can't really fight because you can't get hurt on set. So it's like this really pathetic, like semi-shoving.
Stop it.
Oh, I think he's talking about when they're supposed to be on the opposite side of the bridge and it's like been torn in half.
Oh,
right? No, I was talking about the little slap fights.
Oh, okay. When you were doing it while they're getting,
you two fight like you're really fighting, but don't really fight.
Yeah, so
it's supposed to be like a lesson.
I think the idea of this episode is not bad, like the idea of a flashback where you see what happened, but there's so many different ways to play it. I mean,
at that resolution, it's hard to say it's bad. You're right. As if we break it down to flashback where stuff happens, that's not bad. It's like
right on paper or in the writer's room is in throwing out this idea. Well, it's a flashback. This is a coven. They have a different idea of the Force. This would be something that you would put towards the end. So you're explaining where everything began after you're invested in all of who all these people are. You don't put this as essentially episode 2. Even though it's episode 3 right here, you should have had a reveal of all of the younger versions of these Jedi that you're already familiar with, as opposed to, well, we killed that lady in the last episode, so we're just going to put her here. And then maybe somehow in there you put that it's 16 years before. But time doesn't really matter in Star Wars. Star Wars has always been, even George Lucas struggled with like how long Luke is on Dagobah and things like that. He really stinks at portraying time. With this, it's just you kind of know something happened. It does happen, I suppose, or maybe it didn't happen. Whether or not these Jedi have been massacred, that I don't know if they were massacred or if it's just bad writing, because they, everything else is bad writing on this show. It's just so awkward and stilted.
Do you think the Witch Coven decided to drink the poison that White Guilt Jedi Master drank? That's what happened.
Well, that's right, because it comes from the Bunta tree, right? Right, it comes from and I had to think about it because that is the tree that they do at the end of the episode, Bunta. Which, by the way, why would you name two things in the same galaxy if you're writing this? Why would you name two different things Bunta? Because there's already a Bunta that's spelled differently in a different part of the canon. This is just so strange. Marvin, am I making any sense here? With
Yeah,
the
total
Bunta
sense.
Bunta Eve race and the Bunta poison tree.
Yeah, it's just lazy. It's super lazy. But you got to be fair to Leslie. She's never seen any of the prequels, so
Fair enough.
Did she ever really watch anything Star Wars? I mean, Leslie is not there because she likes Star Wars. She literally says she invented her own story that was based on Kill Bill and Frozen, and then she pitched it to Kathleen Kennedy, and Kathleen Kennedy said, "Oh, you mean you want singing snowmen?" And Leslie was like, no, I want this. And then she started asking Lucasfilm people to help her turn that into a Star Wars thing. So the idea we're going to get actual deep lore on this, that's why I don't connect this with the mother and the father and all of that. I don't, because I don't think they think deeply on that level. I don't think they care anything about that. This is an attack on the patriarchy. This is a statement about oppression. This is a statement about witchcraft and the occult. And that's where we are.
LGBTQ.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say that this is a story pitch that needed to be fleshed out into an actual episode, which is kind of how Leslie Headland talks when she's in interviews. It's Shaw Brothers meets Jane Austen. It's Frozen meets Kill Bill.
What that I said that in my review. I was like, why is it Frozen meets Kill Bill? Because there are sisters in it and it's about revenge. If that's the case, call it Fuller House meets The Crow.
I think this episode should have been the first episode of the entire show, and it starts off with the Jedi massacring them, and then who knows what you do after the first 5-10 minutes of that, because there's literally nothing else.
Well, they couldn't do that, John, because then that would have started the rage right from the beginning, right? So that would have they had to, and they never do that in the first two.
And I will say this,
you shouldn't do flashbacks, because flashbacks hardly ever work, and they should have just started off with this and then jumped forward.
I agree. I will say this: Last Jedi was at least more fun at times. Yeah. Autocoder for 5 AI video generation will allow us peasants to compete with and make real sci-fi again. Democratization of the narrative is nigh. Let this burn the witches. Burn with the witches.
Well,
sorry.
Very powerful technology is about to be available to the public, whatever you want to call it. It's on the way, and we covered this with Pete Docter making some very interesting statements about Pixar. I think all of these entertainment companies know that a huge shift in everything is on the way. By the way, YouTube stands to benefit probably the most from anyone out of all this that's happening.
That's a good point. Accident seller for 20 Norwegian krona. How did the fire spread so quick? It's all stone. It makes no sense whatsoever. Makes no sense at all. Official D-Regs for 2. Even Oliver Twist would say, no thank you, sir.
Please, can I not have to watch another episode of this, please? I beg of you.
Unless they had a little
enough,
bit of
sir.
spice cream. Rad Jedi for 20. How can Bobby Ewing come out of the shower and end this nightmare of Force is female?
As long as they keep giving Kathleen Kennedy the power, I mean, we're stuck with this.
Not great, Bob.
I honestly think that she has for about 12 years now been the problem that they're going to deal with later.
I honestly think she destroyed Marvel, because Marvel, I don't think, would have went down this path had Star Wars not done it first.
She is nobody else in any job ever anywhere could do as bad a job as she has done and keep their job.
It's a very good point. She has to know where the skeletons are. All right, I have to bring this one up here. Photon Empress for $50. And I do remember that Photon Empress was semi-positive the last time that we read her super chats on this channel here. I'm not even sure I'll keep watching. My time is valuable, and I expect my entertainment to be, dare I say it, entertaining.
See, that's where you make the mistake, Photon Empress. It's not about entertaining you anymore. Entertainment is no longer entertainment. No. Yeah. It's about messaging and who is allowed to deliver it.
That's right. And by the way, Photon, this is why when we were negative last week, and you said, well, why are you guys being so negative? It's because we knew this was coming, and we knew this was not going to be a good time for actual Star Wars fans. I don't even see, honestly, how people who care nothing about Star Wars can enjoy this. I mean, this was boring if you don't know anything about it.
Super boring.
If you do know stuff about it, then different story. But
because
I struggled to actually watch, and I knew I was coming on the show, and I didn't want to do it because it was so
I agree. There was in the middle. I was like, can I just quit this?
Yeah, there are people out there who all you have to do is show them just a little bit of LGBT content, and they won't care about what's around it. They'll just go, yeah. But the problem is that those people, there are not enough of those people to sustain a fandom.
Let me just point this out. Okay, so there are plenty of people who will turn something on and they don't care because they turn it on while they are sitting there scrolling through Twitter or something like that. Mandalorian actually had enough quietly going on that you actually had to pay attention to what was going on screen in order to know what was going on the show. Not everything was communicated through very explicit dialogue. This show, every single thing is spelled out to you while you are sitting there, and you can be playing solitaire, you can be playing whatever on your phone. So I wonder if there are people who literally just have this on as appointment viewing, as, oh, this is the thing that everyone is watching. Because you won't miss much.
Because not everyone is watching.
Fair enough. And as far as this goes, well, I won't give my numerical score. I'll just say it'll be less than last week's, which was 5. So thank you very much, Photon Empress. House Atreides for 6 months here. Midichlorian died, let the threads burn. There was a little bit of a midichlorian thing going on there. They didn't say the
whole
word.
blood sample.
They refused to say the word midichlorians. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. They called it M count in Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Yep, that's very true.
It's gotta be
Crypto
5%
Carlton.
different. Wasn't that a theory at one point?
Fair enough. You would think that they bought all the rights. I don't know. Crypto Carlton for 199. I believe this is Crypto Carlton's first super chat as well. Star Wars may not eat hearts, but they sure do eat cat. Yes. Yeah. Official D-Regs for 5. FIFA United Passion movie 3/19 opening Friday. Disney, hold my whip. George Lucas, make it stop. I haven't seen anything about the FIFA movie yet.
I have no idea what he's referring
There's
to.
another FIFA. There's another FIFA movie, because there was the FIFA movie where I forget the guy that played the Abomination played Seb Blatter. And, we'll call it the Fédération de Football de l'Association. It was horrible.
Tim Roth?
Tim Roth, yeah. Tim Roth plays Seb Blatter.
That's incredible that your accent was good enough that Jonas could immediately go, oh.
He said who played the Abomination.
Oh, okay.
Tim Roth is well hilarious. I don't want to pull a Lou Wasserman's ghost and bring in a completely different story that I find funny. But official D-Regs for 5. WDW and John to the fans. Sorry, folks, we have no new insider news this week. All of our sources have been calling us breaking down crying.
I think it should make people feel very good that, one, we have said now for more than a year that the Acolyte is real and it's really coming. And boy, did we take heat on that for a very long time. A lot of people have forgotten just how much hate we received, but we never stopped. We never wavered on that. We wish we could have said it wasn't real, but it was, and it is. And then I would say, too, folks, it ought to make you feel pretty good that we don't have sources with the Acolyte, so we can't tell you what's happening in this show because nobody that talks to us is working on this thing, and that really says something about the quality of people that we like to stay in touch with.
I actually owe a friend lunch because I bet that this show would never see the light of day.
Oh, Marvin, you should have been listening to us back then.
I know. It was before that time.
Yep. Suspense Smith for 2. Thread witches as old as myth faces or Norn, though.
There you go.
Yep. Norn, that's the Nordic one.
Those are the Nordic seers. Yeah, the Norns.
Yeah.
They have the Greek ones in the Acolyte. They're literally named after the Fates, in Ahsoka. The 3 Night Sister witches.
Oh, that's right. And
Lothal, Lachesis, and whatever the other one is.
And if capitalism is any prediction, Sears does go out of business. Autocoder for 5. Opinion, is it the witches' take on the Force, or did they actually just change it, making the Jedi heretics? It is definitely the witches' take, but I think that there's enough going on here that they're trying to say that they're the more legitimate take on what is going on with the Force, like John was talking about earlier, how they literally show threads in the special effects.
I don't see
They
how
also
read it any other
redefine
way.
it. They also redefine it. There's a specific line where they literally say thread woven through all existence, and that's how they define it as. That's how they define. They don't like specifically call it the Force, but I think that's how they say that other people call it that, and that's completely contrary to how both Obi-Wan and Yoda talk about it in the original trilogy.
Well, and you know, they couldn't show the Force. Obi-Wan and Yoda couldn't, so they're not as good as Witch Mommy.
Just going to point this out because I was looking up that FIFA movie, Fellowship of the Ring Extended Edition and Two Towers. Looks like they made five. Let's see, almost $5 million over the weekend. In further embarrassment to Disney, if you ask me. Jordan Gallant for 15 Canadian dollars, but this was not The Last Jedi 2.0. Of course, it's not clear how the witches die. I hate the press tour, by the way. Did I? I think I already read.
I think you got this, but I'll just respond one more time and say it's not Last Jedi 2.0 in this regard. After Last Jedi, you can't damage this franchise to that level again, because the level of excitement and enthusiasm that existed has been wiped off the table. So, you know, it's
Right.
like
We've
once
had
you've
Book of
smashed
Boba
the
Fett,
car.
we've had Mando season 3, we've had Ahsoka. All these things have just been driving people away.
Right.
Well, now-
Last Jedi was like smashing a Rolls Royce. Once you smashed it into a bazillion pieces, like you can go pee on the remainder, and it's not hurting the value anymore.
So, as a consumer of content, I believe that the ending is the most important thing. The way you stick the landing is the most important thing, because since The Last Jedi, I have not been able to fully enjoy anything, even when things were good. When Luke Skywalker showed up at the end of Mandalorian season 2, I couldn't get fully excited because I'm like, all roads lead to Jake Skywalker. I know what's coming. I can't get excited when I know where we're going.
That's right. All roads lead to Jake.
Yep. Official D-Regs for 5. Breaking news: Disney has earned $1.6 billion. But where is Bob and Wilton? Also, a Mexican is selling Disney IPs on the front lawn at a cheap rate.
Oh, where is Wilton?
Things are going down the crapper. It's not good for investors. It's not just one bad decision. You're getting a golfing tree in. Dang it, Bob!
There's Wilton.
Eye on your backdrop, Wilton.
You're going to take him down, Marvin. Take him down. Take down the little furry troll.
That was a receipt.
Release the McCracken member for 10. Hail WDW and all. It's time to give the eulogy for Star Wars. Actually, I'm hearing that Film Thread is literally going to be doing a funeral for Star Wars sometime soon. Yep, I've been told it's a black tie affair, so I'll put on my Sunday best there. Maybe I'll appear in some other form, though. You know,
I think what we should do. No. We need
maybe
to
I'll bring my maybe I'll bring my robes.
I was going to say use your current avatar and just put dark sunglasses on it to hide the tears.
That's an excellent idea. All right, let's see. Olaf for €6. Thank you so much, Olaf, for all your help.
You have to, if you're going to have Morgan Freeman, you have to read it as Morgan Freeman. You know the rules.
What do you guys think about the Fight Club theory that Osha is the only one who sees May as it's just split personality? They have been stealing ideas. I'm trying to think if there's any moments where May is specifically addressed. There are 2 women brushing hair in that scene.
I mean, she'd have to change clothes really fast, because like May gives Jedi Master White Guilt the poison, and then Osha runs in like a second later after she's gone.
That's true, and he's supposedly following her the entire time.
I mean, you know what? Look,
She's also in custody when she's in custody. Osha's in custody when May infiltrates the.
Oh, that's a very good point. That's a very good point.
Jedi Master White Guilt.
Very good point. By the way, I feel very different after watching this episode of The Acolyte.
God.
To Neil89 for 5. I'd like Pro's take on this overall. Do you think this brings about a reset, or has that assessment changed?
No, I think that Favreau is going to attempt to portray Luke Skywalker in a heroic way in the Mandalorian movie, and that might begin to change the trajectory of Star Wars because money. Now, in terms of will Kathleen Kennedy ever change what she is doing with it? No, and she has made that abundantly clear. So until there is a total change at Lucasfilm, I don't believe anything's going to happen outside of a singular movie. But I do think that Favreau would like to go out on top. I don't think that Favreau wants, because here's the deal, guys, and everybody think about this out in the audience, and folks still sitting at about 2,000 in the audience. Want to thank everybody for being here. It's getting late, and we're so happy to continue on with you. Everybody ponder this. Everything on Disney Plus that's been released from Star Wars, which, by the way, is everything Star Wars outside of some goofy little kids' books with Rocks acting inappropriately. But everything's been Disney Plus, and they can kind of hide the Disney Plus stuff. But they're going to put Favreau out there for a box office. Now, you think Favreau wants to be the first guy back at Star Wars and have a box office failure, given all the accomplishments of his career? You better believe Favreau is saying, no, I am not doing a movie, and you hang me out to dry. Favreau wants to have something, and guess what? Baby Yoda's not going to bring an audience anymore. The kids aged out already. By the time they put that little sucker on the big screen, all the kids who had the toys, they're teens, and they don't want to go see Baby Yoda anymore. He's not even said a first word yet. So guess what? Favreau's got to pull out something. He's got to have some trump card, some magic trick. What's it going to be? He's going to want Luke. Just think on it.
But even if he does, I can't enjoy that because I know even no matter what he does here, I know we're going to that planet where he's going to be drinking that green milk, where he's going to be, spearing fish and just being a jerk.
I mean, he already did that with Luke in Book of Boba Fett. He had Luke do that stupid. You have to pick one, pick the Jedi or pick the Mandalorian. It was awful.
It's very binary, that. Space Dave 2000 for $2 Canadian. DEI caused poor Star Wars to die a slow, painful unalive. It's true. It's been agonizing to watch. It's like it's withered on the vine, all that excitement around Force Awakens. Even I loved Force Awakens at the time. It was a promise, though. It was a bill of goods.
I was so invested in all the the mysteries that it opened up. But in pure JJ fashion, he started a bunch of mysteries and had no idea where to go with them.
Yep. Agree.
Well, he didn't. It wasn't. I mean, if you believe what they said, I mean, Ryan was given a blank slate to do whatever he wanted. So
yep.
I don't think JJ really had any kind of creative control over it.
And remember too,
first
that
one.
Ryan
He wasn't even supposed to do the third one.
Hart every single day. And Kiri Hart was definitely a Kathleen Kennedy pick. So that was a battery system that was sort of, what would you say, betraying JJ and his plan. And then they bring JJ back, and boy, oh boy, he did not know what to do with what had happened.
Well, you also had the Jurassic guy dropped out. He had like a ton of stuff planned for like Coruscant and like a big battle there. And then he watched The Last Jedi and was like, I don't even know what to do
also Book of Henry came out and didn't get reviewed well, and then all of a sudden he was off.
Trevorrow? Oh yeah, they are.
Trevorrow,
Kathleen Kennedy is like notorious for like when somebody bombs in another thing, she cancels their thing. Like the Game of Thrones guys who rushed through Game of Thrones to get to Star Wars, and then when the last Game of Thrones season flopped, Kathleen Kennedy was like, "Whoa, I don't think so."
It's true. All right, I just have to read this name. Amish Warlord for 199. Thank you very much, Amish Warlord. We recognize your claim. As the English here, we recognize your claim. Also for 199, this was a filler episode.
I call it a filler episode.
Yeah, I disagree. I actually think that this is supposed to be an episode that's supposed to create intrigue because they leave the massacre at the temple open-ended. We don't know what it is, and that's the whole thing that's like kind of driving May on like why she wants to kill the Jedi.
Yeah, it's also when you have an 8-episode season and you've got a filler episode in there, that's extra tragic. This is stuff that you have to show the origin. So I don't know.
This is supposed to be showing why she has. This is supposed to be showing her like why she's doing it.
Yep, it's because her sister stole her notebook and then burnt down a monastery. Fat Steven JFG for $5 Canadian. Thumbnails done. Please stop making me download Leslie Headland pictures.
Don't worry, the FBI is already tracking you, Fat Steven.
Resist.
I've got plenty of them on the website. It should be
even worse.
Yeah, the number of times that I have to Google someone's name and then shocked or angry, Google just starts filling it in for me. Resist the woke for $2. I now identify as a toxic Star Wars fan.
Well, as it continues to go in the direction it is, I don't, every sane person's going to be joining us, and woe be unto the channels out there who do not yet realize what's happening.
They'll know soon. Jordan Gallant for 25 Canadian dollars. Jordan, you've been very generous. I just want to say thank you for all of this. Thanks, guys, for your thoughts. Overall, it's a huge mess, the Acolyte, but I'm trying my best to view this as non-political as possible. Have to tip my hat to Saul, and the stupid yellow lightsaber dude is my secret dark horse.
Yeah, Flashlight Jedi.
Jedi Master Superfan is what I call him.
Yeah,
he's the one, the superfan who thought Anakin blew up the Death Star.
Yeah. What's the name of who's the actor who plays Soul? I can't think of his name right now.
Charlie
Young Lee.
Bartlett.
No,
Saul. Lee Jung Jae. Yeah.
He's fantastic. So, folks, if you're wanting to know where the positives are, he's wonderful. He's great.
Oh yeah.
Apparently learned English for the role, and my goodness, just perfect.
Did it in a day, I heard. Chuck Norris taught him.
There we go. But thank you very much, Jordan Gallant. SFX Sabretooth the Raptor for 2. Does the Geneva cover this? Guess we are smurfed.
Hey, Wendy Testaberger made this thing, I'm telling you.
It's perfect. Noah Miller for 2. Just a thread in the Star Wars multiverse. Oh, please no. Please no. Oh, and Jordan Gallant for 2 more Canadian dollars. Are you Seth Rogen's twin? Wait, a twin? Not again.
I'd rather have Haley Mills for this thing. Better
Did
acting.
you guys find that weird too when they were like twins are special or whatever?
Yeah. Anytime they're talking about the kids as being special and they're the only kids there, and they're also doing a weird occult ritual around them, the whole thing is just no. Yeah. This is not the kind of thing we want associated with Star Wars right now.
So, and not only have they completely negated Anakin's importance, but they've also negated the importance of Luke and Leia as these force-powerful twins.
Right.
Exactly.
Yep. Fat Steven JFG for 2 Canadian dollars. Remember, Luke is now a closet storage asset.
Cobwebbed, baby. Cobwebbed.
Remember when they tried to gaslight us about the red X on his face in the video from Lucasfilm offices?
Oh, they're so
It was
coy.
just an Empire-themed cubicle.
Okay. Sure.
Exactly. Jordan Gallant for 5 Canadian. I spent too much money. Don't tell my wife. Well,
that was funnier than anything in the Acolyte episode 3.
It was, exactly.
in the entire series. There were no jokes in the entire series. I think this is what they forget, that Star Wars is supposed to be like people reacting in normal human ways. This is why Last Jedi was better Star Wars than the Acolyte. Yikes. I can't believe it.
Which is rough.
Yeah. Damon Padilla for $2. Thank you very much, Damon Padilla. Is blank, but I appreciate it. As well as Z Caldwell for two American dollars here. Will Disney have to sell Star Wars sometime?
No.
You'll have to pry it from their cold, dead hands. Not while Bob Iger's there, for
They're
sure.
never selling Star Wars. And they can't sell Star Wars because it would tank their stock, because the value of Star Wars is so diminished from when they bought it that it would reveal to investors that this ROI was absolutely RO in the dumps. And then it's going to make everybody wonder, well, what's Marvel really worth? What's Pixar really worth? They can't sell it. They're stuck.
Just spelling that out. Roin in the dumps. Roin the dumps. Yes.
Yep.
Fast Steven JFG for 2 Canadian dollars. They've negated all of Star Wars as a platform. Now, yes, they have. They have killed everything profitable about this. And the only thing they have is releasing like the Heritage Collection of all the old PC games. It's about the only thing they haven't completely destroyed.
Indeed. Folks, we'll give our review score in just a moment. Let's go to the Patreon chats now. We've got 5 of these from the Patreon. If you want to become a Patreon member, all kinds of exclusive content over there. Check it out. Ryer Goddard says, after the Acolyte, Star Wars will be at the Star Trek Discovery level of apathy. I think we're below that now. A Nutty Squirrel says, hi, Pro. Would you and the panel please address this? We hear a lot about box office sales and how that factors into movie profits, but does anyone know how streaming licensing plays into a movie's profitability? Well, yes, we actually do know quite a bit about that. If it goes to Netflix or one of the other big streamers, then the companies that make that, they make quite a bit back. In fact, they often make tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars from those streaming licenses. However, when Disney puts it on Disney Plus, they only move money from one pocket to the other. And at the same time, if, for example, Warner Brothers puts it on their streaming platform, then they don't make money other than one pocket to the other. But that's really why Disney is so damaged by all of this, is because whatever they make at the box office, ultimately, that's what they make on the movie. And all they can do to justify the streaming budgets and everything is they have to say, well, we got so many subscribers or we got this much ad revenue, but they don't have to report any of that. So Disney's in a really damaged place when it comes to streaming of movies. Kenneth Wiggins says, Disney World. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I actually did an interview with Steve Deese from The Blaze. He did a movie called Nefarious. He actually was telling me that the actual putting the movie into theaters was part of a market. That was like actually the marketing, and most of the money is made on the back end with like on Amazon or iTunes or whatever, where you're purchasing it and then getting the licensing deal on Prime Video and Netflix. That's where the real money is made for kind of like smaller indie films. They just put it in the theaters as a marketing move.
Yeah, and very cool, by the way, that you had an interview with Steve Deese. Congratulations.
Yeah, that was a couple years ago.
Yeah, you're bigger now than you were then. All right, Kenneth Wiggins says Disney World Land will become nothing more than expensive Six Flags in the next 2 years. Well, they're doing their best to make that happen with Epcot. Erica and Raf says, trying to hang. I keep nodding off. It's 3 a.m. here, but Hubs is listening at work. He's on nights this week. Well, hopefully, Raf is listening in right now, and we hope if he is that we're helping him stay wide awake. Third shift is tough. Folks, I know a bunch of you out there are probably third shifters right now, or you're driving at night, and we're happy to be accompanying you. And thanks for sharing your time with us. It's an honor, as always, any hour of the day or night. Brendan Patrick Gray says, as someone who saw the original Star Wars remastered in theaters the day my brother was born in 1997, and now almost 28 years later near my birthday, Star Wars is clearly on the decline. I'll hold on to the awesome memories, but hope springs eternal that this once great franchise can be revived. Well, the good news is that in Star Wars, there is always a new hope. All right, Jonas, we've got a couple more super chats, and then we'll give our final review score for this episode. Jonas,
that's right. Fat Steve and JFG for 2 Canadian. I loved when Khan destroyed the Death Star. He killed the whole Death Star. Also, I'm going to go ahead and skip.
He did it with the dead witches. One. He sent them into the Death Star, right?
That's right.
For 2 more Canadian dollars. Where's the refund button?
Disney Plus needs one of those.
I'll give you your $2 back. Well, 2 Canadian dollars. David Padilla for 5. Do you know Star Wars Theory, and what are your thoughts on him? I do not know Star Wars Theory, but friends of friends and all that seems okay.
I like
Star Wars Theory. I love his content. Some of our reporting in the past, and has always been very positive towards us. So I don't have any beef with Star Wars Theory. Love his channel, love his content, and I've noticed that he's sort of made a shift in the past, and I think that's because he's savvy and he recognizes where Star Wars is. And his Vader movie was fantastic, that short film, which is sort of what we want to get into next.
I think he's very fair in his assessments. Marvin? He says when things are good, he says when things are bad. I appreciate his content.
Yeah.
Yep. Callus 123441999. Doomcock was right. Oh wait, wrong channel. Sorry.
We love Doomcock. And folks, make sure to check out Doomcock tomorrow evening. And oh, by the way, I'll be on with Lorena tomorrow evening as well. And on top of that, I bet, but I'm not sure, maybe Jonas, you know this, is Valiant Renegade doing a live stream tomorrow?
He should be at 6 p.m. Eastern time, I would assume.
So folks, you've got this one stacked for tomorrow. Valiant Renegade, Doomcock, Lorena Creole. Check all those out tomorrow, and I'll be on with Lorena, so we'll see you there, hopefully.
I'll also be doing a live stream tomorrow.
What time? What time, Marvin?
I believe we go 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock Eastern, folks. You heard it right there.
All right.
Oh no, I'm sorry. We do 5 o'clock. I don't even know my own show.
Excuse me now, Marvin. We got to work on your plugs.
Yes, 5 p.m. Eastern.
And not the orange ones.
Well, 8 o'clock is Pacific time, right?
Yeah, that was it. I was going Pacific time.
Yeah.
Pacific time. Wow, it's late.
That would actually be 2
Never
p.m.
mind.
Pacific.
Yeah.
Just keep going, Jonas. We've
Official D-Regs for
logic has ceased
for $5. Bob is on the ground crying over the tank stock as Hulu and Comcast are sitting in the background laughing and chanting, "Come on, Bob, buy us."
Oh, come on. They've got all the shills on their side. Bob is having a wonderful time. Really, really.
At least that's what I hear.
Wait, what?
Let's go.
Jabba, right?
Oh no!
Sarlacc. God.
They all want the same reactions. Don't worry, folks.
Curtis Shaw, member for 3. My favorite part was when Jackie popped her claws.
Oh, Jackie, we have barely met you, and we would like it to stay that way.
Don't they say Jackie in the actual show though? Don't they pronounce it like Jackie?
They very much
not
do.
Jackie. Yeah. Okay.
It's hard to stay consistent with silly names.
Like Spice Cream and Space Cream.
Yeah.
Let's get some Spice Cream.
Oh my God.
Fast Steve and
Spice
JFG for
Cream.
2 Canadian. I need everyone to say ooh. Ooh. UWU.
We all need things.
All righty. Thank you very much, Stephen. I'm not giving
All
you
right.
$2 back.
Folks, it's time to give our review scores for the Acolyte, and then we're going to play you 3 songs from the upcoming Vacation Radio so that you can hear whether or not this is the kind of thing you want to be subscribed to. Folks, if you would go over to @Vacation Radio, we would love to have your subscription. It's us taking the chance and stepping out there and giving you brand new content. Disney's not going to give you anything good. The music industry has distanced itself from all of you. So we're going to give you something else so that you can listen to. An opportunity, an option, competition for the corporations. All right. Before we do that, John, scale of 0 to 10, where do you put the Acolyte episode 3?
1, because they made something.
They made something. Jonas?
I rated the last one a 5 for just getting for actually producing a show, casting generally well, things like that. I'm going to give this one. Well, yeah, I gave the last one a 5 because the production design wasn't bad, the special effects weren't bad, all of the things except for.
I think it was just for
and
yeah, Qui-Gon though.
Yeah, Lee Jung Jae actually delivered his lines well, so that was everything that was rolled into my 5. And I mean, unless you want me to give the whole review again from last week, so I gave that one a 5. I'm giving this one a 2.5.
Marvin?
Oh gosh, I'm tempted to go with a 1 because again they made something, but you know what? With what they've done to Star Wars and the implications that it has on movies that I love, it gets a 0 from me. Dud.
So I'm going to give it a 0.5. I'm giving it a 0.5 because it is something, and it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. There are things that I have literally turned it off because it was painful to watch. This also was painful.
Off, though.
Yeah, if I wasn't reviewing this, I would have turned it off. I would have turned it off halfway through. Once the witches started doing their writhing thing, I just said, screw this. This is not Star Wars. So 0.5 is my score for it. I'm willing to give a 0. I don't think we've ever given a 0 on this channel. There's stuff that deserves 0s. We can go find it. It's on obscure cable channels that you have to scour through at 3 a.m. But, there's 0s out there. This is 0.5. That's not to say the entire series is going to be that low, but I gave it a 3 for the last week, so 0.5 today. So I'm averaging, 1.75, somewhere around there. Anyway. All right, guys. So I'm going to say that according to what we've said here, sounds like we're about a 1.5 for the group. Is that fair?
About.
I can't believe I'm the one dragging this up to a 1.5, but okay.
We blame you, Jonas. We all blame you for this. So 1.5 out of 10 is the review score for the Acolyte.
You gotta give them a little room to go down here. That's all I'm saying.
That's right. So Acolyte is getting a 1.5. Let me put this on the screen for everybody to see. 1.5 out of 10. All right, here we go.
By the way, Jordan Gallant.
Darn you, Jonas. Okay.
Night, guys. You're awesome. Keep up the awesome work. Thank you very much, Jordan.
Appreciate it. We still won't tell your wife. All right, folks. Acolyte episode 3 review score 1.5 out of 10. probably is the end of Star Wars. And it probably is the end of this show. This will get a bump up in viewership for sure, because people are going to tune in to see if it's really that bad. In fact, there's going to be some people out there who have listened to this. And so, originally they said, I'm not going to watch it. They're going to go watch it to see, is it really as bad as these guys say? And then, that's going to get tabulated. But after this, the apathy sets in where folks are like, well, it can't get worse, so I'm done, I'm out. All right. Now, all of that said, folks, some of you out there are very excited about this. Some of you are a little bit leery, like, what is this thing they're doing with this vacation radio stuff? It's outside of what we're used to. Not sure what they're thinking. But, folks, we want to give you absolutely brand new content. We want to give you something, an alternative. We want to be the anti-corporation that's actually putting out good stuff again. So tonight, we're going to debut 3 songs, not the entire songs, but enough that you can hear it and decide, is this for you? And, folks, we would remind you, too, that if you would be so kind, we would love to have a subscription from you for Vacation Radio and Prelude Studios. It's at Vacation Radio, and we would love to get this up to 200 subscribers tonight. Of course, we'll be launching Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and it's available to everybody. You don't have to be subscribed, and it's totally 100% free. We wanted to start with something that didn't require you to participate in an Indiegogo, didn't require you to do a GoFundMe, none of that. We want to just flat out say, here's what we can do, compare it with what they do. So, folks, we're going to play these songs now. And the first song that we're going to play for you, never heard before by the public ever. Folks, this one is a song that my wife helped me write. And it's about going places with your kids and how that changes the way you experience them. See what you think and enjoy. Here we go. As it loads, folks, as it loads.
Pro.
Are you ready for a new adventure? Don't have kids, but then we did. Thought we'd never, now happily ever. And simple things tend to bring a new perspective, that's what you do. Mundanity, so frequently made fantastic, that's what you do. The ocean's bigger, mountains taller, I'm much smaller, but it's all brand new. Brand new. Let's go and play, we'll find new ways, that's what we'll do. A fresh slate, isn't it great? Joy restored with eyes brand new. A fresh slate, isn't it great? Joy restored with eyes brand new.
All right, folks, so that's the first song. Of course, it's a 24/7 radio station. We intend to bring all kinds of songs of all kinds of varieties. We want to share with you now the next song of the 3 that we want to share tonight. And this one is in the tune of surf rock, or in the genre of surf rock. And ladies and gentlemen, this is about a water park that I bet many of you out there can figure out which one it is if you've ever been to Orlando. Here is Water Park Water is Fine.
I dig a lazy river on a hot summer day. Come on, Miss Tilly, I'm ready to play. Sunscreen floating upon the breeze, waiting all year for the coconut trees. Sending my baby down a water slide, always beats fighting a raging river tide. The real world behind me, wave pool ahead. All my worries and my stress to shed. So come on, beach babies, and maybe we'll stay sitting at the water park here all day. Come on, beach mamas, summer divine. Diving beach dads, now the water is fine. H2O. The sun's beating down, but it's chilly below. A pina colada is waiting on me.
All right, folks, that is Water Park. Water's fine. We'll do one more for you all to hear. And this is the reason we're doing this is we want you to find out what's the quality. I can tell you that we've been working on this for months and months and months, and we're very excited to bring this to you. Also, I can confirm, Jonas, we mentioned earlier in the show that we were working on a deal with one of our collaborators who actually designs guitars for Frank Stallone, who is the brother of Sly Stallone. And during the show, we got confirmation he's going to be doing some songs for us, and we're very excited to bring that to you, folks. We're gonna end the display or samples of these 3 songs. By the way, 60 songs going into rotation on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll launch it after the review of Inside Out 2.
Dude,
but yeah,
60, that's amazing.
60 songs by the end of summer. We're hoping to have contracted or acquired and have 80 songs, of course, all of these originals, all of these owned by us. You'll hear them nowhere else. All right, here's the big one. These others are cool. This one, folks, we wanted to bring you something that is princess-esque. So you decide who does it better, us or Disney. Here we go.
Be here, be there, do exactly as you're told. I long for being bold. Going where there's little care. Then, when I met you, can I vet you? Doesn't matter when, I'd rather take a chance on flashes new. Take a breath and take a risk. Off my feet you just might whisk. I can't believe we're going adventures overflowing. So set a course for unknown waters. Let's land farther than we see. Keep your eyes on new surprises. No traces of places we've ever been. Going back to where we've never, for the first time, find forever. That's just where I want to do. Getting lost somewhere wonderful with you.
All right, folks. So that is what we are launching come Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be attempting to take on the corporations. This is the first step. Eventually, where we're going is short films and the like. And we hope that you like it. Please make sure to subscribe. Support us as we do something very different. And that is to step into the creative and not just the critical. All right, folks, we're going to wrap it up now. But we want to say thank you to everybody who's been here. John Trent does the Trent Report. Folks, you need to go subscribe. Link is down in the description below. Jonas is over at That Park Place. They'll have a live show come Thursday. Jonas, I'll be joining you for part of that. And awesome. Marvin the Movie Monster, folks, make sure you subscribe. Links for both of his channels are down below. Jonas, we've got a couple more super chats.
That's
and
right.
Then we are wrapping this up.
Callus1234 for $1.99. It's dead, Jim. And then for $2 more, Star Wars is dead. Jim. Perfect. And this seems like a great one to end the evening on. Fat Steven JFG for $2 Canadian. Okay, Google, where's my phone? Good night.
That's right. All right, folks. 62% of you say that was better than anything you were expecting when it came to music quality. I'm here to tell you, we got way more on the way and new genres in the future. We've got another super chat, Jonas.
Yeah, Bum Bum Galuso for $10. I think there are Star Wars movies that can tell interesting stories with this kind of romance. Star Wars parodies that you might find in their own special section is a good example of this. Check it out.
There you go, folks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to say goodbye. If EBN is still live, that's where we've got it set to redirect. If it's not, well, we're hoping you'll go over there and catch out what they were saying during this same time. We love our friends over at Echo Based Network. Support them, appreciate them. And folks, don't forget to be with us here Thursday evening. As soon as I run out of the theater from Inside Out 2, I'll tell you how woke it is and what they've done to poor little Riley. Folks, we've had a wonderful time. You are so supportive. Don't forget that you are the gigawatts who make all this possible, and we'll continue doing what we do because of you. Thank you for sharing your time with us tonight. We'll be right back with you. More content on the way each day. Stay cool, folks. The mainstream media just can't understand how it is we continue to do what we do. They don't realize that we are powered by you, and you are
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts!
Folks, we've still got decades and decades left in the can. It drives the mainstream mad.
Would it make you feel any better if you knew that what we're asking Matt here to do is a holy thing?
You see, we're on a mission from God. We're on a mission from God.
Now you're gonna put me right back in the joint.
They're not gonna catch us. We're on a mission from God.
So, folks, as we always say as we end each and every show here, and we mean it, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Every time they hit him, he stood back up again. So they hit him harder. Still, he got back to his feet. Standing man.